Let me tell you about ProHealthConnect.com. It's transforming healthcare payments, providing retailers a seamless process for over-the-counter and healthy benefit programs. By connecting retailers, health plans, and payment processors, ProHealth Connect creates one powerful, unified network. They empower independent grocers and pharmacies to accept health benefit cards without changing how they do business. With over 10,000 locations nationwide, helping more than 1.3 million people access the care and nutrition they need. Go to ProHealthConnect.com.
Sid and Friends in the morning.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I'm sorry, Sid. Hi.
Oh, God, don't be sorry. You kidding me?
No, I'm wrapped up in these meetings on peace. And I said, it's between peace and Sid Rosenberg. And I said, let's take Rosenberg, okay? So.
September 11th, 2001, and so many of us so vividly remember, Mayor Rudy Giuliani ran toward the towers to help those in need. This led to a diagnosis of a restrictive airway disease. He's now breathing on his own with his family and primary medical care provider at his side. Mayor Giuliani is the ultimate fighter. This is something he's demonstrated time and time again throughout his life, and he's going to win this fight. His family deeply appreciates the outpouring of love and support. The mayor believes in the power of prayer, and we're feeling that. Today. He remains in critical but stable condition. Stay tuned for additional updates as we can provide them, and please keep the mayor in your prayers. They are helping in a big way, and we feel it. God bless America, and God bless America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani.
Queens, New York, or Germany, 1930s. Multiple synagogues, Jewish centers, and private homes across Queens were defaced with swastikas and Heil Hitler graffiti. These attacks are coordinated and escalating. And last I checked, Queens is part of New York City, and this is even in Mamdani's neighborhood, yet total silence from the mayor. In fact, he vetoed a bill meant to protect Jewish schools, and his Office to Counter Anti-Semitism doesn't have a phone number or website. It is very alarming that it seems like these attacks is what the mayor wants to happen.
One of those swastikas was on the outside of this shul here on 108th Street. Another on a home nearby, a home we're told belongs to a Holocaust survivor. The NYPD's hate crimes unit now investigating these acts of vandalism.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
That is how Bertha Alive sums up what was done to her Forest Hills home. A giant swastika with a red circle around it, spray painted on the garage door. The vandals walked down her driveway to scroll the hateful symbol. They also threw eggs up at her second-story balcony.
Very upset. It's never happened to us. Never.
Around 1:30 Monday morning, swastikas were also spray painted on another home about a block away, a car on the corner, and a shul right around the corner. Yosef Mendelson is the rabbi there.
The congregation is Machane Chodosh, and it means new camp. It was founded by refugees of Nazi Germany who came here, and they said, here we're going to make a new camp.
The NYPD says a fifth message of hate was put on the Rego Park Jewish Center on Queens Boulevard. Congresswoman Grace Meng represents the area.
In Congress, we're working on legislation, more resources for our communities who are experiencing a rise in anti-Semitism and different communities.
Mayor Mamdani issued a statement saying, in part, this is not just vandalism. It is a deliberate act of anti-Semitic hatred meant to instill fear. There is no place for anti-Semitism in Queens or anywhere in our city. NYPD data shows that in the month of April, there were 30 confirmed anti-Jewish hate crimes.
Needs to be moved to the margins of society, where it should be, where people can say that this is not acceptable behavior.
The Anti-Defamation League calling on the New York City Council to override Mayor Mamdani's veto of a bill that would set up buffer zones around schools and houses of worship during protests.
We very rarely see swastikas on people's homes, on people's cars. That is not something that we've really encountered. And in this particular case, a swastika on the home of a Holocaust survivor really feels particularly heinous.
And we will continue to be here, and this will only make us stronger.
And the NYPD does have some surveillance images. We're told there were 4 suspects in the case here at the shul. 1 person did the spray painting and the other 3 stood by.
Breaking news, the U.S. ceasefire with Iran is being severely tested. Iran firing what it says are warning shots at U.S. Navy ships. And President Trump speaking with ABC News just a short time ago. Iran state media airing images claiming to show the Iranian military firing those warning shots at U.S. ships near the Strait of Hormuz. It comes after President Trump announced the U.S. would now be helping to guide vessels through the strait. Iran also accused of attacking commercial vessels in the strait. Iranian missiles and drones also attacking the UAE. With gas prices in the U.S. soaring up more than 30 cents in the last week and up again today, John Carton, what President Trump just told him about all of this.
In week 10 of this war, the fragile ceasefire is teetering as Iran launches new attacks. Iranian state media claiming they show rockets firing warning shots at American destroyers attempting to enter the Strait of Hormuz. It came after President Trump announced that the U.S. will now help some of the 1,600 cargo ships and tankers stranded outside the strait, posting, "We will guide their ships safely out of these restricted waterways so they can freely and ably get on with their business." The administration announced 2 U.S.-flagged commercial ships were able to make it through. But Iran responded with a defiant show of force, firing at American Navy vessels and a commercial South Korean ship. The head of Central Command, Admiral Brad Cooper, telling reporters the U.S. fought back, sinking 6 Iranian military boats.
The cruise missiles were going after both U.S. Navy ships, but mostly after commercial shipping. We defended both ourselves, and consistent with our commitment, we defended all the commercial ships.
But Iran didn't stop there. Video circulating on social media shows flames reaching toward the sky from an oil port in the United Arab Emirates after an Iranian strike, the first major attack since the ceasefire went into effect. The big question, is the ceasefire collapsing? When I spoke with President Trump, he downplayed Iran's attacks, insisting it was, quote, not heavy firing. When I asked him about the missiles fired at the UAE, he told me they were shot down for the most part. 1 got through, not huge damage. Trump says ships are moving through the strait and the war is going well.
It's working out very nicely.
But most Americans disagree. Our new ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll shows 61% call the war a mistake. Just 36% say it was the right decision. Gas prices averaging $4.47 a gallon, up $1.53 since the start of the war, jumping more than 30 cents since just last week. Today, with gas prices up, peace talks stall, and Iran on the attack, I asked the president about the prospects for ending the war. He told me, quote, "We have it under control. One way or another, we win. And you know why, John?" He said, "I always win."
Breaking news this morning, John Sterling, the legendary voice of the New York Yankees, has passed away at the age of 87. A post from the WFAN X account announced his passing, calling, quote, "the voice of an entire generation of Yankee fandom." Sterling started his historic career back in 1960, started with the Yankees calling games in 1989, and he would go on to call more than 5,000 consecutive games until the 2019 season. He retired at the start of the 2024 season due to health concerns.
If you were looking for drama, if you were looking for the moment, if you were looking for entertainment, that's what he gave you. And I think there were people who were critics, severe critics, and there were people who loved it. And I'll tell you this, as the years went by, I think the fans really grew to love the home run calls. The Yankees hit 1 million home runs every year. They loved the entertainment value of it, and they started to appreciate that and not worry too much about the descriptive analysis of a certain play.
The other thing that was funny about Sterling, with my old partner here, about the passing of John Sterling, legendary Yankee broadcaster, as Mike said, never missed a game in his life. He wouldn't want to dare miss a game in case he got replaced by somebody.
Yeah, he didn't want somebody else to do a game.
Yeah, he definitely did. He didn't want anybody else working but him. But the one thing about him, he used to whine a lot when the Yankees weren't playing well. And you never could argue with him because he had the guts to knock the Yankee. He got a little Harry Carey in him. Because if he didn't like what the Yankees were doing, he wouldn't be afraid to tell you. You got to give him credit for that.
There it goes. It is high. It is far. It is gone. Giambino of Thriller by Godzilla. It's an A-bomb from A-Rod. Burn, baby burn. El Capitan. Robbie Cano. Don't you know? Georgie Juice One. Feeding Gregoria. Makes Yankee fans euphoria. Oh, the milkman delivers.
That's baseball season.
Mark sends a text message. One of the best games you'll ever see. Perfect game. Baseball immortality. The Bambino. God, number 62 to set the new American League record. All right. Here comes the judge. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
John Sterling passed away Sunday at the age of 87 years old, and I was at the ballpark again last night. They love me at Yankee Stadium. I want to thank Keith Kantrowitz and my dear buddy Mark Oranger for taking me to the game, celebrating my birthday 2 weeks later, but they had this plan for a while, legend seats, and you know what happens when I say on the radio I'm going to Yankee Stadium? It takes about 2 seconds. I'm not exaggerating. 2 seconds, not kidding, no, for Randy Levine to text me, or Randy's great assistant, I love her, Stephanie. She's terrific. One of them texts me and go, "You're in the ballpark tonight, you're coming up." So it's always kind of the same plan. Whether Randy sends me seats, we get them from him, or last night, Keith. They're always legend seats, which are a couple of rows from the field. Usually I sit on the third base line. Last night we sat out in right field, right there in the second row. It was beautiful. And then by the third or fourth inning, we make our way up to the suite area where Randy Levine has his suite. You know, there's two suites. And we sit there for a few innings. So, for example, last night when we got to Randy's suite, Randy was, as always, hospitable and beautiful. He was so happy to see me. I was wearing my Bucky Dent jersey. The all-time great Yankee shortstop, Bucky Dent, sent me from Delray Beach, Florida, through the mail, a Bucky Dent jersey and a Bucky Dent signed hat for my birthday. As Lewis knows, number 20 for the man that hit that big home run against the Red Sox in 1978 and went on to win the World Series MVP that year in 78 against the Dodgers, my friend Bucky Dent. I'm in there, and, for example, General Jack Keane, you know who he is known, right?
Of course.
He was sitting right there. And a couple of days ago, Brian Kilmeade said to me, he said, you know, if you go to the Yankee game tonight, odds are you're going to see General Keane there. Now, we have efforted to get General Keane on this show a million times. He never says yes. Never. I don't know why, but he just doesn't say yes. So when I saw him in the suite last night, he could not have been nicer. True gentleman. Really, true gentleman. Great guy. We hit it off great. I think I met him once before. I don't remember. So he was in the suite last night. You know Kenny Sunshine? You know Ken Sunshine? No?
I don't think
big
so.
Big PR guy. Big deal in New York.
I know who that is. Yeah.
He was in the suite last night, and it was just a great time. And the Yankees, of course, went on to clobber the Orioles, scored 12 runs again. Aaron Judge, another home run. And, well, the Yankees are just playing great baseball. They completed the 4-game sweep of the Baltimore Orioles. So Levine, at one point, in front of everybody inside the suite, you know who else was there last night? The Suffolk County Sheriff. You know who he is? He's a terrific guy, the Suffolk County Sheriff. He was in there last night, too. And at one point, Randy Levine made the point that he doesn't think it's a coincidence that about the time that I decided to abandon the Mets, I'm not going back. I'm going to be at Citi Field on May 15th with Bill O'Reilly for the Mets and the Yankees. I've been invited to sit with Steve Cohen in his suite. I'm going to do it. But I'm not going back. That's it. I'm Yankees all the way. I wear jerseys now to the ballpark. And Randy Levine made the statement, Lewis, last night that he does not think it's a coincidence that the Yankees all of a sudden are unbeatable since I joined the Yanks. He said, Sid, I don't think we've lost. And for a while there, the Mets only lost. Now the Mets have won 3 out of 4. They won the weekend series against the Angels and beat Colorado last night. But Randy Levine, for what it's worth, Lewis, crediting me with this Yankee surge. Any thoughts on that?
I don't have any thoughts.
No, you don't. You just. Yeah.
What should I say about that?
I think he's right. No, is it crazy to think that?
Sure, no, it's not crazy to think that. It's not crazy. It's you're the reason why the Yankees are on this.
That's what he said. Listen, when the president of the team says that, it'd be one thing if I said it. Be kind of wacky, right? Errol Toulon, of course, is the
Suffolk County Sheriff.
Yeah, Errol's a great guy. Great guy. He was so nice last night. When the president of the team says that, not me, I didn't say it. See, if I said it, it's like, oh, there goes Sid again. Crazy Sid. And Randy Levine said it. So it's got to be true.
Yeah, sure. He's a smart man. He must know. Of course.
So Texas is coming into town tonight for the Yanks. You know what that means? Brandon Nimmo is back in town. And I told you guys that Steve Cohen told me that he plans on going to the Bronx. The Mets are out of town anyway. He plans on going to the Bronx to go see his friend Brandon Nimmo. You guys found that to be weird, was the words you guys use a lot.
It still is.
Yeah, no, it's not. But I don't know if he's going tonight or tomorrow. I don't know. Jacob deGrom is also with Texas, but he didn't mention him. He talked specifically on the phone with me about Brandon Nimmo, so we'll see if Steve Cohen really does that. I don't know. The Mets are in Colorado, so why not take a nice trip to the Bronx and see your old buddy that you guys traded? I don't know. But at any rate, Texas comes to town, and the Yankees pretty much unbeatable. There was a moment of silence, of course, last night at the stadium for John Sterling. Some emotional videos from Michael Kay. He got very emotional. Susan Waldman, who, of course, worked alongside John Sterling for many, many years. Susie, an old buddy of mine from WFAN, trying to repair that relationship. I wanted Randy to do that for me last night.
What happened between the two?
Oh, years ago, I told her to go home and get her shine box, and she got all pissed off. And
those are your exact words?
Yes.
Oh.
I don't know exactly why. I made fun of her when she did the whole Roger Clemens is in my box type of thing, that whole thing. So I used to make fun of her, and she didn't like that very much. But I was young and stupid and looking to, get ratings and get noticed. And now that I'm old and stupid and still getting ratings and still getting noticed, I'd like to make up with Susan, So she talked yesterday about the passing of her former partner. They did those games for many years, John doing the play-by-play and Susan, of course, doing the analysis. So here it is, Lewis. This is cut number 10. Susan Waldman talking about the first time she ever met John Sterling.
I was his update person on WFAN in 1987, and he was doing a talk show, and he came up for All-Star Week, and he did the week, and I remember he came in, and I was the update person, and he stood up, and he cupped his hand over his ear, and he talked standing up for 4 hours, and I said, this must be a really interesting person, and he could talk about anything. He could talk about any sport at any time, and so his callers were the exchange between him and the callers was unbelievable. He also was a pretty nasty talk show host. People think it was nasty then. John would really yell at people and call them stupid. But I thought, what a fascinating person he is. And that's when we became friends, and we found out we had the same taste in music. We had, we read the same books. He was a voracious reader. I don't know if people knew that in between innings, John would be reading. He would come right back into it, because that was his life, was baseball. But he could turn it off, read a couple of pages, and now we're in the bottom of the seventh, and he'd come right back. It was extraordinary.
Susan Waldman. Now, in the open, of course, you heard Mike and the Mad Dog. They were back together yesterday. Christopher Mad Dog Russo on his Sirius XM show invited his old partner of 25-plus years, Mike Brancesa, on, so he did play some of that. I also caught up this morning with Brian Kilmeade, who follows me each and every morning at 10 o'clock, right here on WABC. Brian, a terrific sports guy, big New York sports fan. He had this to say about the passing of John Sterling, Lewis, cut number 8.
I'll tell you what, the passing of John Sterling, even the age 87, is stunning. Why? I mean, he was just a staple on the air. Every game seemed fresh. It seemed like the first. I love the fact that clearly he was employed by the Yankees, but clearly he was calling the game as he saw it. Yeah, did he want the Yankees to win? Absolutely. But would he call them out when they weren't playing like winners? Yes. And the frustration? Absolutely. I really felt like he was the ongoing conversation between the fans, especially the Yankee heyday, which we're just beginning now to appreciate. And it's the last of, I think, broadcasters that are the Vince Scully types, and I put him in that category, that are really, even though he had other jobs leading up to the Yankee job, I put him in that category of people that are always going to be with the Yankees. And if it's not official, it should be. He's going to be in Monument Park. And I just think that by being a great person, as well as a great broadcaster, I think that's what's going to be remembered. I see Derek Jeter's remarks and all these other players. They feel like he was one of them, and I think maybe as they retired and maybe heard back some of the calls that he made, they realized how special he made the game. So he'll be missed, and it's the heyday of broadcasting. It shows me what a sportscaster can do for a team's identity and for the fans, and kind of linking them both. John Sterling passes away, and I think now his impact is going to begin to be felt.
All right, I couldn't agree more, Brian Kilmeade. We'll do more of this story with the Hall of Famer, WFAN afternoon host, and, of course, Fox Sports 1 television star as well, Craig Carton. He'll be here at about 7:35. And, yes, my new best friend, well, second to Danielle, the president of your New York Yankees, again, I was with him last night, Randy Levine, will be stopping by live this morning, coming up at about 9:15 as well. Of course, you knew John very well. So we'll talk to Carton and Levine about John Sterling. The local story that I wanted to cover, I played the Ari Ackerman. I like Ari. I pretty much stopped communicating with all these, these influencers a long time ago. There's too many of them. And every day, look, I'm Jewish, okay? I think I'm speaking at about 10 events. I swear to God, Lou and Noam, about 10 over the next 5 weeks, okay? But I don't talk about it all day, every day on this radio show. I don't talk about it all day, every day on my social media, because it gets to the point where even the most staunch of Jewish supporters, they get annoyed, and it's a very tough culture out there. It's a very tough climate out there. And we got to be careful in our fight to protect Jews and Judaism, not to start to become too much. Does that make sense, Noam?
It makes a lot of sense, actually.
Right. So you notice that I'm not talking about Israel every segment. I'm not doing live Jerusalem segments every second. It's still in my heart. I'm going to go to Israel in June. Like I said, I'm going to speak at about 10 events. And we do a little bit of almost every day. But I'm not going to, hour after hour. So these influencers, that's all they do. So every now and then I call them and I go, listen, guys, I'm not the boss of all this. But I'm telling you, you're starting to hurt us. What do you mean? I said, the more you do, it's too much. Every single day is too much. But, when we see what we saw 2 days ago in Queens, and I live in Queens, then you can't talk about it enough. Swastikas on homes, including the home of a Holocaust survivor, swastikas on a shul in Queens, then you got to talk about it, and you got to talk about it a lot. And unfortunately, we are talking about these things too much in this city. So let me play this one more time. This report to my attention by Ari Ackerman, who's a good one, on his social media, on Instagram, talking about what we saw 2 days ago in Queens, Lewis. This is cut number 2.
Queens, New York, or Germany, 1930s. Multiple synagogues, Jewish centers, and private homes across Queens were defaced with swastikas and Heil Hitler graffiti. These attacks are coordinated and escalating. And last I checked, Queens is part of New York City, and this is even in Mamdani's neighborhood, yet total silence from the mayor. In fact, he vetoed a bill meant to protect Jewish schools, and his Office to Counter Anti-Semitism doesn't have a phone number or website. It is very alarming that it seems like these attacks is what the mayor wants to happen.
I agree with him. The mayor's rhetoric is, I'm going to arrest Bibi Netanyahu, the fact that he did, in fact, veto that buffer zone in front of educational centers like yeshivas. Everything he says and does says it's open season on the Jews. Everything. So, now we get this day in Queens a couple days ago, and you heard Ari Ackerman say nothing from the mayor yet. We played a clip from WPIX, Noam, Channel 11, in the open, talking about this night, all the news, all the details, and they talked about Mamdani's quote. And Mamdani's a liar, and he just, he gets on his knees for the Jews in New York because he wants their votes again when he tries to win again in 3 years. He doesn't care. But PIX says, here's a quote from the mayor. What they didn't say was, It took a long time for the mayor to say anything. Once again, another example of a New York local media station running cover for Mamdani. What they should have said was, hey, this happened a couple of days ago. We did not hear from the mayor for about a day till he made these comments. They never said that, no. But you know that's the case, right?
It took a long time.
Took a long time. When you've got this type of attack in Queens, and you're trying to convince people you don't hate the Jews, despite what Sid Rosenberg says every day, you got to get on this in less than an hour. Less than an hour. No?
You would think so, yeah.
Nothing from the mayor. Came hours and hours, maybe even the next day. I don't know. That stupid tweet that, this is, we can't have this. And shut up, Mamdani. Shut up. God, I hate this guy. I'm so sick and tired of Mamdani, and I got to talk about this jerk off every day. I have no choice. This is the one place where I do go, but for the influencers, I'm not talking about anti-Semitism and Israel every day with the mayor. I'm talking about a variety of issues. I can't stand the fact that he's anti-cop. That's my biggest issue with the mayor. Or the taxes, what he's doing to people like Ken Griffin, John Katsimatidis, Bill Ackman. There's a million things to hit the mayor over the head with, above and beyond anti-Semitism, but here we are again, 2 days away from another really ugly attack in Queens, and basically nothing from the mayor, one tweet that said nothing. What else we got on that, Noam?
Well, the intense part about this, too, is just that normally we see this, unfortunately, where they'll go after synagogues. In this case, it was a Jewish community center. The synagogue they went after is a synagogue called Machane Chodesh in Rego Park, or it's right in
My God,
Rego Park.
You said that so well.
Don't I say that well?
That's very sexy.
Yeah, you want me to say it again? Machane Chodesh.
Oh, my God. Could you get naked and say it?
Yes, I could.
Okay,
actually,
thank you.
But after the show.
Okay, great.
So that synagogue was founded by people who had escaped Germany. So here they are.
Holocaust survivors.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And then what made the story even more unusual is that 2 homes were, tagged with graffiti. I mean, normally it's one thing to go after a synagogue and a community center. I'm not saying it's right. But then when they go after homes and a car, that's not something you see usually.
Homes of Holocaust survivors.
No, I don't know.
One of them was.
Oh, one of them was?
Yes.
Oh, so clearly that tells me that the people who were behind this knew what they were doing. I thought the synagogue was just a one-off. They got lucky.
They actually put graffiti, a swastika, and I'll have to confirm this, I'm 99% sure, on the home of an actual Holocaust survivor.
Yeah, I had not heard that. I mean, it's just
I believe that's the case.
Horrendous.
Yes.
Now, they do have video. They think it's 4 people, but, they haven't caught up with them yet.
All right, we heard yesterday from Asian Teddy, I call him. He's not even Asian. Why do I call him that? Because he looks Asian. It's fine. His name is Teddy Goodman. He happens to be the spokesperson for the great mayor, Rudy Giuliani. So I didn't know this. So Rudy has something called restrictive airway disease. Rudy is suffering from a post-9/11 illness. That's no surprise, okay? But he was so sick a couple nights ago when the news first broke that he was in critical but stable condition. Maybe you didn't even know this either, that the priest actually came to read Rudy Giuliani his last rites. Did you know that?
I saw that.
That's how close Rudy was to death. Now, thank God he is turning the corner. He is improved dramatically. Maybe not dramatically, but he's improved enough. I don't think he's in danger of dying anymore. I told you this yesterday. I've been in contact with his son, Andrew Giuliani. But Teddy really believes that all the prayers and all the love really helps. This was in the open. It's worth playing again, Lewis. This is the PR guy for Rudy. He's a good friend of ours. His name is Ted Goodman. And Lewis, this is cut number 1.
The September 11th, 2001, as so many of us so vividly remember, Mayor Rudy Giuliani ran toward the towers to help those in need. This led to a diagnosis of a restrictive airway disease. He's now breathing on his own with his family and primary medical care provider at his side. Mayor Giuliani is the ultimate fighter. This is something he's demonstrated time and time again throughout his life. And he's going to win this fight. His family deeply appreciates the outpouring of love and support. The mayor believes in the power of prayer. And we're feeling that today. He remains in critical but stable condition. Stay tuned for additional updates as we can provide them. And please, Keep the mayor in your prayers. They are helping in a big way, and we feel it. God bless America, and God bless America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani.
All right, great job, Teddy. Give me the latest with Iran. I know that they're firing missiles now, specifically 2 U.S. destroyers, U.S. Navy ships fired at them. It doesn't seem to me like Iran has paid any attention, not even for 15 minutes, to this, what they're calling very fragile ceasefire. There's no ceasefire. I mean, they continue to wreak havoc in the Strait of Hormuz. As far as I know, they haven't done anything in terms of providing us with any more information or goods in terms of enriching uranium for this nuclear bomb. So I don't know what President Trump thought he was going to accomplish during these 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever long these extensions are, which I think makes us look bad, not good. Doesn't make us look good. I mean, you look at the approval ratings right now, and Trump says they're phony. Maybe the president is right. Listen, I love the president. I think that this was a worthwhile and necessary war. I do. But as it starts to drag on, I like it less and less. And I'm not alone. The American public, according to CNN and Fox this morning, now believes at 66% that we're not doing a very good job handling the war. And a lot of that 66% was on board when this thing first started. But you remember, I've been telling you guys for weeks, going back and forth with people like K.T. McFarland, that good friends of mine at the Pentagon tell me that we're stuck. We're stuck. You know, we're going back and forth about the Strait of Hormuz, but if you look at what we wanted to accomplish and where we are, we're not doing anything, not because we're waiting to find the right guys to talk to, but because we're stuck. People go, oh, no, that's not true. And I don't know if that's not true, because it almost seems like that to me. So another day where Iran is firing at us, not really paying attention to anything we want them to do, and the idea that we're stuck, I'm telling you, man, this is now, 5 or 6 weeks this thing's been going on? That doesn't seem so outrageous to me, Noam. What about you?
No, I mean, there's no end in sight. We don't have any talks of any sort of peace deal going on. Yesterday, you had Iranian state media reporting that 2 missiles had struck a U.S. warship, and then so you had Central Command come out late yesterday saying that's not true. It did not happen. The president saying yesterday that they're escorting commercial ships through the strait. They're unnamed countries that aren't involved in the fighting, and so he says they're going to help free those ships that are unable to move through the waterway and get them out. But it wasn't even clear that happened yesterday. And then the Iranians said they were waiting for a response to peace proposals. There's been this back and forth, but there really hasn't been any movement at all on either side that we can see anyway.
Jeez. So gas prices are still way too high. Way too high.
Yeah, it's a $4.46 an average this morning, according to AAA anyway.
Yeah, and spots in California, tonight they're going to have their big California governor primary debate. CNN is going to air that. We're going to have Samantha Ettus in studio. She's from New York, but now lives in Los Angeles for many years, in here to talk about those races, both mayor with my man Spencer Pratt and governor. But there are parts in Los Angeles where I'm reading it's like $6.50. You saw that, right?
Yeah, Northern California, $6.50. Parts of Southern California, just around that, a little bit less.
Right. So, I'm all Trump all the time. I love him. And John comes on and goes, oh, they're going to start coming down the prices and they're going to come down very, very quickly. But when? I mean, they're coming down. When?
Well,
this isn't helping us. The damn midterms, they're going to come up on us before you know it.
Well, here we are. It's already May 5th. They put the Treasury Secretary out, Scott Bessent, yesterday on to do some talks with reporters. And he was saying, what the White House has said all along, that gas prices will come down when the war is over. So the reporters are saying, well, when is it going to be over? Because this is hurting everybody.
This is getting silly. I'm sorry. I love Trump. I want to get him on. My dear friend Bruce Blakeman, who is now serving his second term as a Nassau County executive, our enthusiastic choice to beat the wretched Kathy Hochul and be the next governor of of New York, I should say. Bruce is on his way as we speak right now to Washington, D.C. He's going to meet with President Trump in the Oval Office and talk about what a mess New York is, how bad Mamdani is, how bad Hochul is, and all the issues in and around New York, and Bruce and Trump are very, very close. Remember I told you guys this way back when? You know that, what is her name now, the one in Congress? He doesn't talk to me anymore. The one who did a good job beating up the university presidents, and everybody loves her.
Elise Stefanik.
Yes. She doesn't talk to me anymore. So I reached out to Elise 2 or 3 times because she was everywhere the last 2 weeks promoting her new book. You saw that, Noam, right?
I did, yeah.
I said, Elise, people come on this show. They got a new book just this week. Dana Perino, Brett Baer next week. You've got a new book. I'm not Imus. I'm not Oprah Winfrey. But if there's a radio show that can sell books, it's me. And I want to cordially invite you to come on and help promote and sell your book. She won't even text me back. She really believed that I hurt her because there I was for her when she started running. But as soon as Bruce jumped in, my allegiances changed because I'm closer with Bruce Blakeman, have been for years, than I am with Elise. Nothing personal. I also think Bruce is the better candidate. Same thing with Trump. I told you guys. Trump much closer to Bruce than Elise. Trump loves Elise, respects Elise, loves the job that she did, will always appreciate the fact that she did not take that UN ambassador job and stayed in Congress to make sure he had that slim edge. But he's an actual friend of Bruce and Bruce's brother, too, mind you, not Elise. So Bruce will be with the president. He's going to call in here in about 5 or 6 minutes, talk about exactly what is on the agenda in the White House today. But I got to all this to say that I love President Trump, but this is getting silly now. I'm sorry. I'm having a very difficult time defending this war now. Not the beginning, not even the first month. No issue. Loved it. Loved every second of it. They are, in fact, the sponsor of terrorism all over the world. They are, in fact, trying to build a nuclear weapon. They are, in fact, funding all those proxies from the Houthis to Hezbollah, to Hamas, killing Israelis all over the world. More importantly, forget about Israelis because you're all anti-Semites, killing Americans for years, for 47 years. One of the worst attacks we ever had was all of our soldiers being killed in Beirut. That was Iran. So don't tell me that they don't deserve this. Of course they do. Not innocent civilians, but we're not killing innocent civilians, God damn it, for the 1,000th time. I mean, I had a block last night, that washed-up stupid actor from Bruce Blakeman's part of town, Billy Baldwin. You believe that?
You blocked him last night?
I had to. I get home from the Yankee game. I go to bed. It's late. I'm tired. I get up at 3:30 in the morning. And at 3:30 in the morning, I do the same thing every morning. Some mornings I got up about 2:50 when I got to shave. But I already shaved yesterday. I got up a little later today.
Got that, no?
I do.
Write it down. So it's 3:30, and when I first wake up, I'm very tired. So even though I'm a guy, I pee sitting down. Okay? Fine.
Okay, you got that part too?
Write that down.
Shave,
yeah.
peeing, sitting down.
Right.
Little.
So I'm sitting down. I'm reading. Well, that's how I read the paper. I get ready for work, you know. And then I check my social media, and Billy Baldwin, there's like 9 posts from this idiot. Like 9. And it's all these videos of people, some even Israeli, some Jewish, that are beating the living daylights out of Israel for murdering innocent Palestinians. You know, the whole lying narrative that Tucker Carlson and the rest of these anti-Semites, yes, they are. Don't try to argue for them. They're anti-Semites. Billy Baldwin is one, too. I know he's got a couple of Jewish friends in Hollywood, but this is the argument they all try to make, you know. That the Israelis are committing genocide and killing Palestinian children, all that nonsense. And he litters my page with it. And then what really ticked me off is the last video I see, which was like 40 minutes before I got up this morning, was an MTG video. Marjorie Taylor Greene taking President Trump to task. Here we go again for Jeffrey Epstein. And you guys know, for the billionth time, I want every single person, every single one, even if it was President Trump, but he's been exonerated, you morons. Every single person that took advantage of a young person in that Epstein thing should go to jail forever. I don't look to protect any of them, but I'm sick and tired myself of being called a pedophile 50 times a month because I'm friends with Trump. I'm sick of it. You're going to put MTG on my page? That's going to be your source of information? She's a source of truth, Marjorie Taylor Greene? So I blocked the son of a bitch. Billy Baldwin. What a douchebag. God.
I think we both got that part down.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Why is he your friend, no?
Well, we go way back.
Yeah.
You know.
How far back?
So you shave then you sit.
No.
You're more curious about that.
If I have to shave, I have to get up at 2:50 a.m.
Right.
Because it takes me like 45 minutes to shave.
Do you do that while you're peeing sitting down?
No. First I pee and sit down.
With the phone.
Take you 40,
with the phone.
45 minutes?
Yeah, because I got to do my face, my neck, my head.
You
it's
do
a
your
whole
body,
thing.
right?
I do a whole thing, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I only do it like every 3 days.
Right.
That gets me up at 2:50. Now, the days that I don't shave like today because I shaved yesterday, I get up at like 3:20. And then I have extra time to just sit and read, get ready for the show.
All right, now I know when to send you the long kind of messages.
Your best readings at that time of
At
day,
about
probably.
3:20, it's great. And then I read all this stuff the night before, all these psychos on my social media. And the last thing I expected was Billy Baldwin to go nuts.
Well, he heard you talking about him, I'm sure, on the radio, or it got back to him
of course
yesterday.
it did,
And that's
right.
why he went on the attack. He needs the publicity.
Right, he has not been relevant for how many years? Like I told you yesterday, since Sharon Stone said, I can't kiss him on the movie set anymore. The guy's got breath like an ass. And that stupid movie Sliver that he made, that he has not. This guy hasn't done anything, as far as I know, in 15 years. Whatever exposure he did get was from his wife, China, who's in that group, Wilson Phillips, and they're done. I guess.
That's right. He was with China Phillips.
He still is.
Is it? Oh, he still
I think they're still married, yeah.
Okay.
I think he is one of the few that actually stayed married. I don't know why she stuck with him, but she did. But at any rate, Billy Baldwin has SDS to the nth degree. He's got Trump derangement syndrome, too. Don't get me wrong. He's got it in a big way. But he's also got Sid derangement syndrome. Billy Baldwin. So go on social media and just cause havoc, cause hell with Billy Baldwin. He's at the real Billy Baldwin. At the real Billy Baldwin. He is out there. He's all for Palestine, which doesn't exist, you moron. All for Palestine, anti-President Trump, anti-Bibi Netanyahu. He wants to arrest everybody. But by the way, I'd love to know if Billy and Alec were ever in the same restaurant as Jeffrey Epstein or in the same area, because you know that if you walked down the block and bumped into Jeffrey, you ended up in those papers. That was what became ridiculous about the Epstein files. It wasn't just people who were on the island looking to take advantage of young girls. If you were in a restaurant and he was there, you were in the Epstein files. You're going to tell me the Baldwins were never in the same place as Jeffrey Epstein? You want to bet no?
That'd be hard to believe.
Right. But he's putting up videos of Marjorie Taylor Greene and President Trump, this jackass. So anyway, I don't care.
Well, now you won't see it anymore because you blocked him.
I blocked him, yeah. It's unfortunate because to a certain extent, I enjoy it. The hate watch is fun,
Do you want me to go look and see what he's posting this morning?
Yeah, you should,
Okay.
actually.
All right.
At the real Billy Baldwin. And while you're there, call him a dick face.
All right.
Will you do that?
Yeah, sure.
All right, thank
Anything.
you. Yeah. Big show coming up, as I mentioned, the Nassau County executive. He's running for governor, our dear friend Bruce Blakeman, on his way to the White House.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
He's going to be our next governor, folks. Write it down. He's going to beat Kathy Hochul, the Republican choice for governor here in New York, my dear, dear friend Bruce Blakeman. Bruce, on the way to Washington, D.C. today, to the White House, to see our mutual friend, President Donald J. Trump. With that said, here he is, my friend Bruce. Bruce, good morning. You got a big day ahead of you, don't you?
Hey, Sid, it's good to talk to you. I'm going to be seeing our buddy, who's doing an amazing job, President Trump, today in the Oval Office. We're going to talk about a lot of wide-ranging issues. We're going to talk about ways in which we can make New York more affordable, how we can fight back against Kathy Hochul and Zohran Mamdani's energy and tax policies that are making this the highest most expensive place to live in the whole United States. And we're going to talk about making New York safer.
That's so important because you got a mayor who's anti-cop. You know that. He loves to visit perps in the hospital, but not the police officers. You've got Kathy up in Albany who refuses to really address the situation of bail reform and putting bad people back on the streets. And I know the president knows about this. He's got people like me in New York who text him and bother him, but you and him are very, very close. So I love the fact you can sit with him today. So when he tries to be nice to people like the governor, when he says nice things about the mayor, the truth is neither one of those people deserve any of those compliments. Mamdani is destroying this city. Hochul is destroying this state. And now we're counting on you, Bruce Blakeman, today to tell President Trump the real truth.
Well, first of all, Kathy Hochul and Zohran Mamdani want to end law enforcement's cooperation with ICE, which is very dangerous, Sid. If you saw what happened the other day out here in Nassau County, there was an illegal migrant. He came to this country through Mexico, up through California, and he was 12 years old. And under the Obama administration, this guy was let loose in the community at 12 years of age, unsupervised, no parent, no guardian, just running around the country, made his way to New York. And in 2022, under Biden-Harris, they gave this guy legal status. They gave him a green card. And then lo and behold, this guy, he had something wrong with him. He was somebody who was very dangerous to the community. He ended up butchering two young women, one 42, one 32. And these women had their whole life ahead of them. But unfortunately, it was cut short because of the policies of Obama, Biden, Harris, which make us less safe. You know, Sid, that I have had an agreement with ICE for over a year now. We removed 2,000 criminals from our streets in all sorts of crimes, from attempted murder to rape to robbery to carjacking, drug dealing, gang activity. And you know what? Where do they want us to put these 2,000 people? They want us to put them back in the community? This is disgraceful. We didn't raid one church. We didn't raid one school. We didn't raid one daycare center or hospital. Because we cooperate with ICE, we had more control over the situation, and we made sure that it went very smoothly without incident. So I'm going to talk to President Trump about some of those issues. I'm going to talk about lowering energy costs by being proactive in drilling in the Marcellus Shale, which is one of the largest natural gas reserves in the world. We have it here in New York, and we're not using it. What we're doing is we're importing natural gas from Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania gets the money. New Yorkers get the short end of the stick. We're going to end the migrant program here in New York State, where we spend $8 billion on people who haven't earned a thing. They're not New Yorkers. They're not Americans. That ends when I become governor. I'm going to talk about all these issues with President Trump.
One more, Bruce, is anti-Semitism. 2 days ago in Queens, right on the other side of the border from you, swastikas painted on people's homes and shuls. And listen, my feeling is that the mayor Mamdani, he encourages this type of stuff. You know, he's still talking about arresting Bibi Netanyahu and how Israel is committing genocide. And when the political leaders say stuff like that, and you've got a society that is hell-bent on hating the Jews, that doesn't help. So he actually, I think, he lights the flame. Kathy Hochul does nothing to put out the flame. So here again, two major officials in New York doing very little to nothing, in fact, encouraging all these anti-Semitic situations. No?
Well, you're absolutely right, and that's why I was in Brooklyn yesterday with Assemblyman Michael. I was with Assemblyman Krasny and Assemblyman Novikov, and we were there, Sid, to protest the fact that they were allowing in Brooklyn, the melting pot of New York City, with one of the largest Jewish populations in the world, a singer from Uzbekistan who says that Jews should be, wiped off the map. We can't allow that to happen in our country. Who gave her a visa to come in here to sing? We've got to make sure that we keep people out like that who are just filled with hate speech. They're anti-Semitic. They have un-American values. They shouldn't be invited to come here to perform in our country or in our state or our city.
So wrapping this great conversation up, my dear friend, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, running for governor, but a very exciting day ahead of him. He's on his way to Washington, D.C., going to meet with his dear friend, President Donald J. Trump, in the White House. You know, Trump's already threatened, and he has not delivered money to New York State, to Kathy Hochul. He'll do the same thing with the city before you know it. At least we know this, Bruce. When you win this race, not if, when you win, getting money from the federal government to help New York, that's not going to be an issue with Trump and Blakeman, right?
You're absolutely right, Sid, because I will spend that money wisely. Mamdani and Hochul, they take the money and they just give it away, as I said, to illegal migrants. We are a magnet for illegal migrants in the United States here in New York because they come here, they get free transportation, free food, free housing, and a free cell phone. It costs the taxpayers $81,000 for each illegal migrant. We should be spending this money on New Yorkers. So he knows I'll spend the money wisely, that I won't just give it away to people who came here illegally and just land in New York, and all of a sudden they get everything free, and the taxpayers get nothing. Matter of fact, the taxpayers are footing the bill.
So if you have any free time, like downtime in the Oval, and you guys aren't really talking about anything important for the moment, feel free to give me a call. You and Trump, hop on the phone, the both of you, and you can wish me a belated happy birthday from 2 weeks ago. How about that?
Sounds good. I'll bring it up.
All right. Listen, have a great trip. We love you here in New York. You are going to win this. So many people stop me every day. I love your friend Bruce. I love your friend Bruce. I know President Trump loves you too. So keep up the great work. Have a great meeting today. Bruce Blakeman, we'll talk again very soon. Great job.
Love you too, my brother. Thanks
Take care. I love you so much. Bruce Blakeman right there, the Nassau County executive on his way to the White House to talk to President Trump.
This is Sid on Sports. Sponsored by Peerless Boilers on 77 WABC.
Hey, Justin Alex, here with your sports update, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com, find a deal near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built of boilers. Start in the Bronx, Yankees wearing JS initials stitched onto the back of their caps, honoring the late John Sterling with a moment of silence before the game. Michael Kay and Susan Waldman, two of Sterling's broadcast partners over the years, placed bouquets of flowers at home plate in honor of the beloved radio play-by-play broadcaster who died yesterday at the age of 87. And then the Yankees went on to honor him with a shellacking of the Orioles, beating them 12-1 for a 4-game sweep in their 14th win in 16 games, I should say. Aaron Judge put New York ahead in the first inning with his 14th home run as part of a 4 RBI night. Judge is tied now with the Chicago White Sox rookie Munetaka Murakami for most homers in the big leagues. AL best. New York moved to season high 13 games over 500, outscoring the Orioles 39-10 in the series. Starter Cam Schlittler won his third straight start, allowing 1 run and 7 hits in 5 2/3 innings. Up next for the Yankees, rookie Elmer Rodriguez makes his second big league start tonight against Jacob deGrom, with the Texas Rangers coming to the Bronx for the opener of a 3-game series. First pitch from the stadium is scheduled for 7:05. In Colorado, Carson Benji homered leading off the 6th for New York, and Mets beat the skidding Rockies 4-2 in a game moved up 3 hours to avoid potential wet weather. Up next for the Mets, the righty Freddie Peralta will get the start in tonight's middle game of this 3-game series, set for an 8:40 p.m. first pitch from Colorado. And we'll go to the Garden here. Jalen Brunson scored 27 of his 35 points in the first half, and the Knicks emphatically added to a historic postseason roll by overwhelming the 76ers 137-98 in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Knicks became the first team in NBA history to win 3 straight postseason games by at least 25 points, continuing a wave that began midway through the first round against Atlanta. Game 2 of this Eastern Conference semifinals is set for tomorrow night back at MSG before the series shifts to Philadelphia. Elsewhere last night, out in San Antonio, the Timberwolves beat the Spurs 104-102 in the Western Conference semifinals. Minnesota jumping out to a 1-0 series lead there. That is your sports, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I think they really are underestimating how angry everybody is, because there's people that I talk to that used to be just hardcore Democrats, hardcore leftist progressives that are really saying, like, in hushed tones, we really need a Republican. We really need, like, some no-nonsense Rudy Giuliani person. I hate to say that. I hate to say it, but that's what we need. We need someone who's going to be really tough on crime and clean everything up and stop all these people from having tents on the street. There's so many people like that that are just quiet about it. They don't want to talk about it openly and publicly because they're afraid of being shamed.
I grew up in Palisades. I went to Crossroads High School. I don't think I've ever met a Republican. No, I mean, for real, like, right. All the people I know, all my family and friends, everybody I know is a Democrat. And all the people that are supporting me, all the people I talk to, they're Democrats. This is not the Democrat Party that's running LA. The other day I posted the commandment list of, I think it was 1996, Bill Clinton's Democratic Party. It looks like what I would say right now.
Yeah.
That's the Democrat. No, this is socialism. This is communist. This is cartel. This is mafia. Yeah. This is not. Democrats love me. They want all the same things. They want to feel safe.
It's really amazing how they can hide it by just pretending to be compassionate. They can hide all this money that they're just siphoning off because it really is just organized crime.
Well, they say to people, "There's nothing we can do." That's right. People will be in my comments section, be like, "There's nothing you can do." It's like they are so good at just keeping this. These people have rights. First off, it is illegal. This is below people's mind. It's illegal to live on the sidewalk.
Right.
That's a Democrat law. All the laws I want to enforce are Democrat laws.
I've got family members who I very rarely talk to. I love them because I love them, but they're idiots. Even my own family. I don't know how you could be a Democrat today. I just don't know. But Spencer Pratt, that voice there with Joe Rogan, the very wealthy and famous Joe Rogan. Spencer Pratt is one of the Democrat choices for mayor out there in Los Angeles. And I've got a lot of friends. My very first ever radio partner, he's on this show quite a bit, Scott Kaplan. Everybody loves Scott. Him and I started together in Fort Lauderdale, Florida back in 1997. He's been doing the last 20-plus years between San Diego and Los Angeles on this show quite a bit. My dear friend Ross Levinson, he was in these studios a couple of weeks ago. Started my radio career in Fort Lauderdale back in 1998. His house burned to the ground in the Palisades, and they just started working on it again, and they're about 3 weeks in. So he's very angry, and he's about to leave California and move, as he told us on this show last week, to Palm Beach in Florida. So I got a lot of friends in L.A., and I keep my eye on it. This Rinderneck guy who they arrested back in 2025 for starting some of these Palisade fires, turns out he says that he was actually motivated by Luigi Mangione. Mangione, of course, killed a healthcare worker, murdered him, Brian Thompson. A lot of you lowlives in New York look up to him like he did something great, like he's a martyr. This guy was inspired by Mangione, set these fires out in California. The judge said he can't get out. He's looking at 45 years in prison. His trial starts in June. A lot of pain out there. And now you've got the gubernatorial primary debate on CNN tonight and the mayor primary debate on CNN tomorrow night. Two huge races coming up in the state of California. Samantha Ettus, one of my favorite, if not my favorite. She's right up there with Eliza Licht. I like her too, in terms of social influencers. And Samantha, of course, used to live in New York for a long time, but she's out there in California now, knows all about these races. And she's in studio this morning. Good morning, Samantha.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Always great to see you.
How do you like being back in New York? I ask you this all the time. How long are you here for?
I love it. I mean, I come back. Actually, I've had to come back for 3 of the last 4 weekends. So I feel like a bicoastal for sure for different events. But I really feel like Los Angeles has run its course. We moved there 14 years ago. It was a totally different place. It is now not a good place to live.
Like I said, my friend Ross is moving to Florida. My good buddy Scott. You know Ross Levinson?
Very well, yes.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, of course.
How do you know Ross?
Our kids are friends. We've gone on vacation with our families together.
No way.
Yes.
So when I started my career doing sports, it was an internet site, not radio, at a place called Sportsline USA, Cypress Creek, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He was one of my bosses. He was the one who said to me, hey, you know a lot about sports. Have you ever considered doing radio? I said, of course not. I'm on a customer service line making $9 an hour. He said, well, we're starting an internet radio division here at Sportsline, and I want to give you the opportunity because you speak so well and you're knowledgeable to do some radio. And he did it. He's really the person that started my radio career 28 years ago.
That's absolutely wild. No idea. That's incredible.
He was in these studios. When was he here, Ross, guys? About 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks. Probably.
Yeah. So that's great,
That's so
okay. Funny. So he's had all these difficulties. He's moving. My buddy Scott Baio, the actor, he moved out of California, also moved to Florida about 2 years ago. People are leaving. So you're saying you're ready to leave.
Well, I think a bigger problem is a lot of the billionaires are leaving California because of the tax situation. But it's also just quality of life. So, I mean, the quality of life in Los Angeles has totally changed. Weeks ago, I was a homeless man poured a venti iced drink on me at a Starbucks.
No.
Yes, from the back, like through my underwear, like literally sopping wet.
Hot coffee or cold?
Thank God it was a venti iced coffee.
Iced coffee, okay.
Then it happened to the guy next to me too. Then the guy trashed the Starbucks, and the police had to come and they closed the Starbucks down. But like that's a normal event. In fact, I was at it was a gubernatorial fundraiser recently, and I shared that story with the candidate. And another person raised his hand and he said, "That's nothing. I just had a homeless man piss on me last week."
Oh, come on.
And I said,
Jeez.
"Okay, you win."
Yeah, you win. That's a win. By the way, our mutual friend Suzanne Miller does a great job here, the Miller podcast, Real Estate. She says hello. She says she loves it. She is terrific. So let's get to then, brought up Spencer Pratt. And he's a guy that I'm endorsing. I know very little about him. I saw him on Joe Rogan. I read some stuff about him. But he seems to be, and again, I'm not a big Democrat guy, but he seems to be as common sense. He's not Betterman, okay, but about as common sense as a Democrat can be. Something tells me you feel the same way. The debate for mayor comes up tomorrow night, but you tell me what you're seeing out there in Los Angeles.
Well, first of all, I believe Spencer Pratt was a registered Republican and then now is
He
an
was.
independent. Yeah, so he's not, I wouldn't consider him a Democrat. He's just right now an independent.
Well, he did call himself a Democrat with Joe Rogan a bunch of times.
I think he was telling himself, saying he believes in democratic values. I don't know.
I think he wants those votes.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Right,
For sure, yeah.
right.
And by the way, he should get those votes because Spencer Pratt is by far the best mayoral candidate in the race. It's hands down. There's no one else that's even worth considering.
Now, why do you say that?
Well, as you know, my home burned down. And listen, I used to be a hardcore Democrat. I've raised millions of dollars in the past for Democrats.
The hell's the matter with you?
Something huge, actually. Something very big. I mean, if you knew the people I supported, I canvassed for Elizabeth Warren years ago.
No, you didn't.
No, it's mortifying. Honestly, Sid.
See, I was a Democrat, too, because I'm a Brooklyn Jew, but I like people like Ed Koch.
Oh,
even
I
Bill
loved Ed Koch. How am I doing?
Right,
Remember
even
him?
Bill Clinton. But when you start to get to the Liz Warren stage.
Oh, horrible.
Pocahontas.
Horrible. Yes. No. Really bad. I mean, listen, I'm coming on here as confession, okay? So, in 2022, I voted for Karen Bass, which is shameful. I freaking love Rick Caruso now. But listen, I've changed my ways.
Right.
After October 7th, I sort of had this wide, rude awakening of how much hate there was towards Jews and Israel. And I really didn't know that I was almost contributing to it by supporting people. So now I call myself a party hopper. I'll go to your party if you are pro-Israel and you are fighting anti-Semitism. That is my number one issue.
So are you a one issue girl?
I'm a one issue voter because it's our survival now.
I
Sid.
know,
It's
but I'm not. I want people to know that because like you, I'm a very strong supporter. I get invited to a lot of stuff, because liberal Jews don't like me. But I look at Mamdani, for example, here in New York, the taxes, driving out the billionaires, anti-cop. So I'm not a one issue guy.
What does he have to do with it? I mean, if we only voted on one issue in New York, if all Jews were smart enough to do that, then a third of them wouldn't have voted for Mamdani.
Right, of course.
So, I mean, by the way, I don't like when people say, oh, the Jews voted for Mamdani. They didn't in New York. If you look at it, if everyone voted like the Jews, Mamdani wouldn't be our mayor.
That's right. He got about 20-something% of the vote. You hear some people get crazy, 40% because they don't like Jews. He got about 20%. We didn't put him in office.
No.
Curtis Sliwa really had more to do with him winning than the Jews did.
Correct.
But at any rate, so you voted for Karen Bass in 2022, but you've seen the light now.
100%.
Yeah.
Karen Bass burned my home down, my community, every single place my kids had a childhood memory burned down because she was, I guess, on vacation in Ghana. God knows.
She was.
She allowed the reservoirs in our town to be bone dry. So even though we had firefighters there was never water on my home or anyone's home around me because the fire hydrants were empty. It is shameful.
Is that all her, or is part of that the equally as lousy Governor Gavin Newsom?
I can't even mention his name. He makes me so sick. But yes, it's both of them. It's a failure. She knew before she got on that plane to Ghana that there was a crisis, and she did nothing about it, and she still got on that plane. And her deputy he had been suspended. So there was literally no one driving the bus when she was gone.
So explain this to me then, okay? Because I'm always shocked by this. Why is she the favorite still to win again? I'm not saying Spencer Pratt can't beat her or somebody else can't beat her. I think Spencer can beat her. But why is she the favorite?
She is not the favorite.
She's not the
She
favorite.
is absolutely
Who's
not
the favorite right now to win that race?
There is no favorite. In fact, what I'm excited about for tomorrow's debate, and I encourage everyone to watch it, is that it is going to give us new polling. And right now we have terrible old polling. We have no idea what's going on. There's a ton of undecided voters. And the scariest part is we have our own Mamdani in Los Angeles. Her name is Nithya Raman.
Yeah.
She's our DSA candidate.
Yep.
There's a few DSA candidates, but she's the only one we're talking about. She's the one in the debate, and she is more like AOC than Mamdani. She's very scary. She has a charismatic husband. Like, she has like a lot of good things going for her, and she's a disaster for the city. Disaster. And the problem that I'm concerned about is we have a jungle primary in Los Angeles and California, which everyone should understand, which is really confusing, but it has nothing to do with parties. So 2 candidates will ascend for governor after the primary on June 2nd and for mayor.
And this is part of the reason why the Democrats wanted Eric Swalwell out of the race so badly. They don't care that he may have raped a couple of women. They didn't care about that. But because of what you're talking about, the jungle primary, they were worried that too many Democrats, it was like 10 or 11 Democrats, up against 2 Republicans for governor was going to hurt them. So that's, just so you folks know, part of the reason why the Democrats turned on Eric Swalwell. Little to do with rape allegations, more to do with what are the odds we can win that election.
Okay, I might disagree on that point.
Yeah,
but
I'm right. You can disagree all you want, but I'm right. I don't care.
All right.
A lot of people disagree with me. They're always wrong.
Okay. On that one, the rape is a pretty big deal. But anyway, but the point is, and
but
if
it was a big deal that all the Democrats that called for him to resign from the gubernatorial race would have said resign from Congress. Not one did. He only resigned from Congress when Republicans, specifically Anna Paulina Luna down in Florida, and Nancy Mace said, we're going to kick you out. So if it was about the rape, and here's where I'm right, the Democrats would have said, don't run for governor and quit your job today. They did not do that. They said, don't run for governor, but don't leave Congress.
Well, he's not even worth talking about because he's not in the race.
No.
And,
Well, I had to prove
we
my
have,
point,
we have
though,
a
so.
very crazy, crowded governor's race.
Right.
So for mayor...
Is Steve Hilton going to win that? That's President Trump's choice. Steve Hilton.
So Steve Hilton has a shot, but it's going to be very tight. He's right now neck and neck with Becerra, and it's going to be very tight.
And you like Becerra?
Listen, I think that in terms of the Jews, Becerra and Steve Hilton are both strong. In terms of everything, they're strong. The most important thing for everyone in California is that we box out Katie Porter. We box out Bianco. I mean, he's like a Proud Boy. He's disaster. So, like, there's a few people in there that are just scary. Tom Steyer, disaster.
Tom Steyer. A lot of money, but a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, he has a ton of money, but that
Right.
doesn't mean anything.
He's a real Democrat.
He's not even, he's just awful
Yeah.
in so many ways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically those 3, if we can get those 3 out of the race, that's what we care about.
Okay.
I mean, and I would say that Steve Hilton, I like Steve Hilton. Becerra is fine. I like him. He was RFK under Biden, but basically we have 2 candidates we need to win. And if Bianco's in that, again, the scariest part about this jungle primary is 2 people will ascend.
That's right.
So if you have, let's say, Bianco versus Hilton, I think Bianco might crush him, and that's what I'm worried about.
And you may end up going back to the mayor's race. I like this. It's exciting back and forth. If 2 people will ascend, you may end up with Pratt and Bass in the mayor's race.
That's a great matchup. Okay, that's a fantastic matchup because Pratt will crush Bass.
He will?
He will. He really will because people want change. They do not want someone who ruined our city. So many people are angry. It's not just the Pacific Palisades people, the Altadena people. She really completely screwed up the city. And the homeless situation there, if you come to LA, I don't know when the last time you were there is.
Last time I was there was 3 years ago. I shot a movie for Danny A. about a real-life mob joint in Brooklyn called the Gemini Lounge. And I went to Sir because I love Lisa Vanderpump, and I wanted to meet Jax. I swear to God, I'm such a child. And I did meet Lisa Vanderpump and her husband that night. But I stayed in a hotel in Beverly Hills because I'm not a big L.A. fan. But I saw some of the things that you're referring to, yes.
It's 10 times worse than when you were there. Like 3X for the 3 years. It's really bad. So the homeless situation is horrific. I think that Karen Bass is a terrible mayor. You know, she's definitely, you know, in terms of the Jews, she showed up at a Hanukkah lighting or 2. I think she really likes fire. But, you know, she is a disaster.
That's funny.
So
she loves the menorah because she loves the fire.
But she, in every other way, is a disaster. But again, Nithya Raman, we do not want her in that runoff. If Nithya Raman is in the runoff, we have a tough time. She, unfortunately, these DSA people, they don't even show up in the polls. They outperform polls because they have such a strong ground game.
That's what Mamdani did.
Exactly.
Right? For like a month, Cuomo was beating him, and then all of a sudden, in the last week, he came on so strong that the actual election primary day, He was in the lead, Mamdani, by 4 points. Does she get a lot of talk out there? Is she getting people like Mamdani, AOC, other socialists, maybe Bernie Sanders, I don't know, saying nice things about her?
Well, here's the problem. She and Spencer are new, right? Like, so they're both picking up votes right now, and Karen Bass can't pick up any votes because incumbents can't pick up votes. So it's very hard for Karen Bass to pick up any votes, but they're both picking up votes. So even with endorsements, like Kamala Harris just endorsed Bass as though we needed another reason to dislike her. Yeah. So it's like, it's just, but it's honestly, Nithya Raman is this, like, we just don't know what she's capable of, which is why I'm excited for post-mayoral debate. However, here's one thing we need to talk about, Sid. Rick Caruso was an extraordinary candidate. He had a ton of money behind him, and he still couldn't beat Karen Bass. And that's what's scary about this race. And it's such low voter turnout. It's really an apathetic situation.
Still low.
So even with that race, it was like 45% voter turnout. So 1 million people decided the city.
Not enough.
This time we need even more. But before that, it's been like 25 to 35% voter turnout.
Same thing here.
Yeah.
No one showed up with de Blasio. He won twice. We were looking for $2 million for the Mamdani race. It's the same exact situation. By the way, on the way out, you mentioned Harris. Is she going to run for governor in California? Or she may run for president again. I don't know. What does he talk about her possibly running? Is that over?
I mean, she's just such a giant disappointment.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about her.
She gets booed at Laker games with her crappy Jew husband, Emhoff.
Oh my God! And well, his daughter is even worse. I mean, it's just the whole family.
She raised $8 million for the for Hamas.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, basically,
it's
right?
a disaster. But I mean, I just want to go back to one thing, Sid. If people have loved ones in California, you got to get them to vote for Spencer Pratt or Becerra or Hilton, but they cannot vote for anyone else.
All right, so for the mayor's race, we want Spencer Pratt. It's at the Kentucky Derby here. We want Spencer Pratt or Becerra for the mayor's race, and we want Hilton.
No, Spencer Pratt. We only want Spencer Pratt for the mayor's race. For the governor's race,
Becerra and
we
Hilton.
Want Hilton, Becerra.
Okay, there it is. And people can see all this on your Instagram page. You're terrific. And you're also fighting for the Jews every day. I know you do a great job with that. And your newsletter, you're still doing that. I read that all the time. What is that called again?
The Jews letter.
The Jews letter. How about that, Louis? You got to see what she did? Look, he loves that. The Jews letter. That comes out how often?
Once a week.
But
you know I'm on Instagram all day, every day.
I know, I see. I told you, I think you're great. I really do. I think you're great.
Well,
but you got to put me in that newsletter more often. Just write a whole story about me for the newsletter. It doesn't matter. There's no reason for it, but just do it.
I love it.
It's good to see you, and we'll keep an eye on those races in California. And as soon as those are over, do yourself a favor. Get the hell out of there, okay? It's a horrible place.
I have 3 years left on my contract. My last kid graduates in 3 years, and I'm out of there.
All right. So you'll be here in about 2028. Just in time to work for me when I run for mayor, okay?
Perfect.
Good to see you, Samantha. She's terrific. Samantha Ettus, folks. Check her out on Instagram. That's her name, Samantha Ettus, Ettus. Is that right? And, of course, you can read her Jews letter as well. We'll take a short break. Still lots more to do. We've got Craig Carton stopping by, WFAN Hall of Famer.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
Learning about Cuba, having some food.
Mr. Spicoli, you're on dangerous ground here. You're causing a major disturbance on my time.
I've been thinking about this, Mr. Han. If I'm here and you're here, doesn't that make it our time? And certainly there's nothing wrong with a little feast on our time.
Classic. One of my favorite movies of all time, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Jeff Spicoli, played by the brilliant Sean Penn, and Mr. Hand, who at one point, Spicoli goes, "You dick," played by the great Ray Walston, I believe, the late great Ray Walston, who also played, if I'm correct, my favorite Martian.
Very nice.
Nicely done, huh, brother?
Nice, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Take things nobody else knows for $700.
Right. Talking about Cuba, which Sean Penn did there. You know, Nick Shirley is not allowed to leave Cuba. He's looking to expose life in a communist country like he exposed all the fraud in Minnesota. He's the guy that did that. Nick Shirley is basically the guy that ended Tim Walz's career in Minnesota. Now he's in Cuba. He's like the new Geraldo Rivera, I guess, trying to do the same thing, and they took his cameras away. No, what's the latest? So with Nick Schroeder, do you have the information on that story?
I think that's as much as I have. I mean, we haven't heard a whole lot more.
They took his cameras away and he can't leave.
Yeah.
Now you can't leave like Chaz Palminteri in a Bronxdale.
Yeah, and they can do that. They can keep you if they want to.
Whatever they want.
Yeah.
Until Trump and Rubio call or say that we're going to kill you or something. I don't know what they're going to do. But Nick Schroeder is stuck in Cuba, even though Jeff Spicoli knew a lot about Cuba back in the early 1980s. Did you like that movie?
Love that movie. Was Bill Bixby in My Favorite Martian? Was he the other character in that show?
He was. Very good. Also, more known, of course, in The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Playing Lou Ferrigno's.
Worship of Eddie's father.
That's a great one. Nicely done.
Wow. From downtown.
Yeah. All right, before I go to break here, I've got Craig Carton and Bo Dietl coming up. Who was the actor, who masturbated when Phoebe Cates took off her bathing suit top on the diving board on the pool?
Remember that scene?
Yeah. You should know this.
I really should know this, and it's just not coming.
His first name is the same as Yankee Slugger's last name.
Judge.
That's it.
Come on.
What is? Oh my God! What is Judge's first name? Yeah.
No,
that's his last name. Judge Reinhold.
Judge
was
Reinhold.
His name.
Okay. Of course, Judge Reinhold.
Not to be confused with Judge, the judge who works with Katz here at
no, it's not Weinberg. No.
Not Judge Weinberg, right?
Imagine we found out it was him.
All right, we'll take a break. We got a lot of great guests still
Just wear
stopping
robes.
by. Craig Carton's going to be here. Bo Dietl's going to be here. Greg Kelly's going to be here. And the big one, the president of the Yankees, Randy Levine, he's going to be here.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, the entire stadium standing. Jeter singled cleanly between third and short his first time. So he is one hit away. He is at 2,999 as he stands in. And there's the chant, which you can hear in the background. Derek Jeter. Here comes the 3-2 from Price. Swung on and hit in the air to deep left. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. He's homered. Derek Jeter homers to tie the game, and there it is, hit number 3,000. Derek Jeter has achieved another milestone in his Hall of Fame career. 15 playoff appearances, 12 All-Star games, 5 World Championships, and now the first Yankee to amass 3,000 hits. The captain, Derek Jeter.
If you were looking for drama, if you were looking for the moment, if you were looking for entertainment, that's what he gave you. And I think there were people who were critics, severe critics, and there were people who loved it. And I'll tell you this, as the years went by, I think the fans really grew to love the home run calls. The Yankees hit 1 million home runs every year. They loved the entertainment value of it, and they started to appreciate that and not worry too much about the descriptive analysis of a certain play.
The other thing that was funny about Sterling, with my old partner here, about the passing of John Sterling, legendary Yankee broadcaster, as Mike said, never missed a game in his life. He wouldn't want to dare miss a game in case he got replaced by somebody.
Yeah, he didn't want somebody else to do a game.
Yeah, he definitely did. He didn't want anybody else working but him. But the one thing about him, he used to whine a lot when the Yankees weren't playing well. And you never could argue with him because he had the guts to knock the Yankee. He got a little Harry Carey in him.
Sirius XM, Mike and the Mad Dog, Mike Brancesa, Christopher Mad Dog Russo, the afternoon show when I was there all those years at the Fan. And again, those guys are done. Mikey does his podcast, and Chris is on Sirius XM. In my opinion, the best sports talk guy on radio. It's not even close anymore. Is the afternoon host, ironically, like Mike and Chris were on FAN right now. Craig Carton, he's the best. Craig's a Hall of Famer. Also, Fox Sports 1 television guy on this show quite a bit. And I said yesterday, I said, listen, I'm not saying John Sterling was Vince Scully, okay? I'm not saying that. But in terms of pure entertainment value, he was better. Better than all those guys. Now, it depends on what you prefer. Me, I understand that baseball, yes, wins and losses matter. They get billions of dollars. But baseball is still a form of entertainment. So give me an entertaining guy, and I'll take that guy 8 days a week. And John Sterling, I believe, was the best when it came to keeping the Yankee fan entertained. But I'm out of the business. Craig Carton is still the best. You tell me, Craig, where does John Sterling belong in the pantheon of all-time greats.
Yeah. Look, I think he's one of those guys like Harry Carey in Chicago, Harry Kalas in Philadelphia, Vince Scully in Brooklyn and L.A., and part of that's because of his longevity. Part of that's because even the mistakes he made became must-listen-to radio. And he's it's a bad way to put it, but those guys are a dying breed. The guys that stay with one team for 30, 40 years, I'm not sure how long those guys are going to exist anymore. Because of the travel, because of the money, because of the consolidation, because some teams don't send guys on the road anymore. But John Sterling was uniquely ours. And even in the last 5 or 6 years of his career, where his mistakes became fodder for talk show radio, I just don't think there's a lot of guys like him left. And I think John Sterling and the tributes he got yesterday were very well deserved. Think about this. In an era where guys don't like to go to work, 5 days a week, let alone 7. He did more than 5,000 consecutive games. And if you put that in context to the 20-year career of Derek Jeter, and you just played Derek Jeter's 3,000th hit, the home run, just for context, John Sterling called every single pitch of Derek Jeter's career.
Wow.
No, that's why he's special.
That's amazing. That's a great job, Craig. You're right. And he was special. You talk about the mistakes. And, Lou, you remember this. We had a guy at WFAN years ago. His name was Jonathan Grunfast. He mostly cut tape. He went on to become an update guy for me in Miami, believe it or not, Craig. So, long story short, at the end of Bob Murphy, the Hall of Fame announcer for the Mets, at the end of his career, he effed up all the time. He would call Keith Hernandez, Sid Hernandez. He just, he would talk about Pee Wee Reese. It got rough for Bob Murphy at the end. And Grunfast made a tape of all of his mistakes. And one morning, you remember this, on Imus, after Bob Murphy died, and everybody was doing the Bob Murphy tributes, I decided on my sports report that morning for Imus to play the Bob Murphy mistakes. So Imus going, "You son of a bitch, that's not nice." And all kidding aside, Chernoff was furious. Eric Spitz was furious.
Mike and Chris
were pissed.
Yeah.
The Mets were pissed. And I say this to you, Craig, because if given the opportunity to do it again, I would do it again tomorrow.
Yeah. By the way, me too.
I know. That's why I love you.
Yeah.
That's why I say you're the best in the business, because on a serious note, you understand, and this is why you're great. You know your sports, but you're entertaining. That's why John Sterling was great. Entertaining. That's the key word, no?
Yeah, look, he was a showman. He understood it. I'm not sure if he would have embraced it, earlier in his career, but I think as he got older and people started to talk about his legacy more, I just think he liked being talked about. Now, Susan yesterday, I thought, did a great job kind of eulogizing him on our midday show with Evan Roberts and Sean Marash. Tiki was off yesterday.
I have that cut. Wait, I have that cut right now. Let's play this. This is Craig referred to it. Here's a chance to play Susan on the show. Cut number 10, and she talks about, to Craig's point, the first time she met John Sterling.
I was his update person on WFAN in 1987, and he was doing a talk show, and he came up for All-Star Week, and he did the week. And I remember he came in, and I was the update person, and he stood up, and he cupped his hand over his ear, and he talked standing up for 4 hours. And I said, this must be a really interesting person. And he could talk about anything. He could talk about any sport at any time. And so his callers were the exchange between him and the callers was unbelievable. He also was a pretty nasty talk show host. People think it was nasty then. John would really yell at people and she called them stupid. But I thought, this is what a fascinating person he is. And that's when we became friends, and we found out we had the same taste in music. We had, we read the same books. He was a voracious reader. I don't know if people knew that in between innings, John would be reading. He would come right back into it, because that was his life, was baseball. But he could turn it off, read a couple of pages, and now we're in the bottom of the 7th, and he'd come right back. It was extraordinary.
Nice job there by Susan, right, Craig?
Yeah, it was great. Look, they worked together longer than anybody, right? So she would know the kind of picadillos about, him off the air as well. I've heard that story before, that he would spend the pregame reading whatever novel he was reading or book he was reading, and then as soon as the producer said go, he went right into go mode, which I think is a great gift that he had. But she did say something. It made me think. I've tried to have a little more empathy my second and third iteration on the fan. I'm not sure if I'm successful at it or not, but she did make the comment yesterday that he didn't quite understand, or at some point earlier in his career, when people would take shots at him. Like, he didn't get it. And I think there came a point late in his career where he enjoyed being talked about, even if there's people, playing like you did for Imus, some of the mistakes he made. And I think he became a larger-than-life figure, almost a caricature of himself in the last couple of years. But I think the fact that so many people across the country are playing his calls and mimicking his calls now tells you about his legacy as one of the great radio play-by-play guys in baseball history.
Bottom line, this is the Hall of Famer, the great Craig Carton. Weekday afternoons on WFAN. Does a great podcast, too, in the mornings with his guys over at Fox Sports 1, which we play here.
Hey, Sid, do you think it's bad to have a 30-ounce Coke slushie and a bag of Twizzlers and a box of Tic Tacs for breakfast?
I mean, it's probably not as bad as a line of cocaine and a half a bottle of scotch, but it's not great.
Oh. All right, so you win.
You know what's funny about you is I know you. You're in good shape. You're a very good-looking guy. You used to be a very good ball player. I'm not sure if you still are. You probably are. But you don't eat healthy, do you? You don't eat healthy.
Well, if a 30-ounce Coke slushie from Quick Check and Twizzlers and Tic Tacs is unhealthy, I guess I'm unhealthy, but I'm glad you brought up my ball-playing skills.
Yeah?
I don't care what anybody else says. WFAN against WABC on the softball field in Staten Island for charity. Are you in or are you out?
I got to tell you, the Staten Island Ferry Hawk management, the great Gary Perrone, who loves you, he was in these studios just last week as the Ferry Hawks opened up their home schedule at that beautiful stadium last week. He is so excited, Craig, about this opportunity now for your WFAN baseball team to take on my team at WABC. Chad Lopez is in. Chris Olivero is in. Here we go. We're going to kick your ass, Craig. We got. I don't know who we've got. We got Dick Morris at shortstop.
Yeah. By the way, you have Brian Kilmeade playing second base.
Right.
I win.
Well, one of the things you have to talk about, though, are the rules. Like, you can't be bringing in, I know what you guys like to do. You're a sports station. You're friends with everybody, Craig. I get it. You can't have Plaxico Burris and Derek Jeter and all those guys playing on your team when I'm going to be playing, my weekend crew like Cindy Adams. You can't do that.
Yeah, you're going to have Bo Dietl at first base, Joe Tacopina pitching.
True.
You're going to have Bruce Blakeman playing right field.
Yeah.
You're going to have, like I said, Kilmeade's playing second.
Yeah.
I'm going to have Plaxico Burris in right. I got Tiki Barber in left center.
Oh, my God.
I've got Ryan Leaf at third base.
Oh, my God.
So good luck.
Tiki's a great shortstop, too. What I may do just to really make sure that the fans love us, I may put President Trump at third. How about that, Craig?
You think he's got to? By the way, I was told that there's a video that came out maybe over the weekend that President Trump was a decent high school baseball player.
That's true. He was actually even better than decent.
True?
He was good. Yes, he was actually good. Even better than decent. He was good. And he's. Yeah?
I think I saw a video of him having a catch. And he looked like he knew how to throw a baseball pretty good.
No, and he loves the game. He's very, very close with Randy Levine and the Yankees. He was in a box last summer. Hearing rumors about him coming back to Yankee Stadium again this year. And he loved the Wilpons. I'm not sure how he gets along with Steve Cohen, but he, in fact, when he first won in 2017 and did his first interview with me and Bernard, God rest Bernard's soul, and we talked about all the important stuff at the time. Same thing, China, White House Correspondents' Dinner. This is 9 years ago. We ended the interview with me asking President Trump, Mr. President, if opening day is the same day in Queens and the Bronx, and the Steinbrenners offer you tickets in the Bronx, and the Wilpons offer you tickets in Queens, which game would you go to? And he said, Sid, that's a tough question. Don't ask me that. I love both those guys. But he made it very, very clear that he was very close with all those guys and both organizations.
Yeah, you know what you should do if he's the president? You just tell Rob Manfred, Yankees at 1, Mets at 4, and do both. Like I'm the president.
Yeah, he probably would do that, yes. But at any rate, I'm glad you popped on this morning. You're beautiful. You're great. And you're right. Everything you said about John Sterling, Craig, you nailed it, especially just his effervescence. He just wanted to do every game. The guy never wanted to miss a game.
He did. He never wanted to take a day off. I think he's one of those guys where taking a day off would have meant, he was in trouble. We all live in this world where as much as you talk about how great you are every morning, I talk about how great I am every afternoon. There's an insecurity to this job. There is.
Oh, no question.
And I think, him never wanting to take a single pitch off, I think played into the insecurity of the job. And, when you're the Yankee play-by-play guy, there's no job that's more talked about, and there's no job you would think with less security than that. And I think, I think that's what John was kind of talking about without actually saying the words.
Yeah.
God forbid I missed an at-bat.
Yep.
The guy that replaced me might be better. So I never want to take a day off at all. But can I just bring up a quick thing out of left field for you?
Sure.
You said earlier this morning that it took you a half hour to shave in the morning because you had to shave your neck.
Right.
That's disgusting.
What do you mean it's disgusting? Underneath my chin, your neck, you don't change it. What, you shave your face and you let the hair grow? I don't understand.
You're like Chewbacca. You're like, I get the head, that's a quick papa-bomb. And the face, papa-bomb. How hairy is your neck?
My whole
that
face.
You need an extra 30 minutes to shave.
No, I do. I get very hairy, and I got to shave my head, my face, my neck. It's a whole process, Craig. It's a whole. One of these days, I'll videotape it, and you can watch it at home.
By the way, there's probably people out there that would pay $9.95 for like neck shaving fetish videos.
I get big money for that. Big money. Yeah, we'll do a whole tutorial on that. Maybe before the game when ABC takes on FAN. But thank you for another amazing appearance. You're funny. You're great. You're terrific. Craig Carton, I love you, buddy. Thank you so much.
Pick your Saturdays for the game because I'm starting to warm up. And tell Lou better get his ass out there, too.
No, Lou plays. Hey, Lou, I remember, thank you, Craig, you were great. When we had our FAN softball team, you were out there a couple times with me.
Yeah, Lou
you played second base,
Lou
right?
is old now.
We're all old now. Who's young? Nobody got younger in the last 20 years.
Lou is older.
Yeah, so what? You can still play.
Okay. Well, sure. I'll play. Fine.
You played second base,
Craig,
if I
and you
remember.
want me? I'll play.
Yeah,
I played the outfield.
no, you're on our
played
team,
second.
though.
Yeah,
You're not on
I
Craig's
know.
team.
I know, but you both just said I got to get
Yeah, you got to be there. Well, you were a draw. That's why Craig wants you out there because the ladies love you. And you're famous. You're Lou Rapino. I miss Sid. The whole
Lou
thing.
should be the mascot.
There you go.
Okay.
How about that?
Ladies love cool Lou. That's it.
Craig, thank you, brother. We'll take a short break. That's a great job. Lots more to do today, including the Yankee president, Randy Levine.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
You know, we've got the Belmont in Saratoga this year as they rebuild the track. It's back at the Belmont next year. And there's nothing more exciting, as you know, Cherie, than having a chance at a horse at winning the Triple Crown. But we've seen examples where a horse will win the Kentucky Derby and not race in the Preakness a couple of weeks later. Everybody wants to know, will Golden Tempo race in 2 weeks?
We're going to let Golden Tempo decide that. It's kind of hard. He needs every bit of distance, as shown in the race, to win at 1.25 miles. And we have to put the horse first. So we're going to see how he comes out of the race, see how he's training, how his energy is. And then we'll talk about whether we want to take the chance or not. He's just unique in the fact that he is a true classic distance horse that needs all the ground, and shortening up in the Preakness will definitely be a key part of that discussion on whether we do enter and run in the Preakness.
And when usually would you make that call? Over the next week, I guess?
Yeah, so typically our horses get about a week of easy training, and kind of towards the end of that week, we'll we'll try to make a decision.
Golden Tempo wins the Derby, paid $48, 23-1. And, of course, Cherie again is the horse's trainer. We're going to find out if that horse will run in the Preakness. But who was standing right there with Vinny Viola in the winner's circle as Golden Tempo was being celebrated as the 2026 Kentucky Derby winner. Who else but the great cop and our dear friend here every Tuesday, my guy Bo Dietl. How cool was that, Bo, on Saturday? You were right there, right in the middle of the action.
All I can say is it was one of the greatest racing weekends. I was very fortunate to fly down with my friend there, Lou Lazzanaro, Michael Dubb, and Sandy. We flew down on his jet on Thursday night. We went to that Jack Ruby Steakhouse. That's like the place.
Yep.
And we had dinner with Chad Brown, who was the trainer of the Kentucky Oaks race that was going to go on Friday night. And sure enough, always a runner, he won the Kentucky Oaks, which is the lead up to the Kentucky Derby. Then on Derby Day, I was in the paddock with Vinny Viola there. First words out of Vinny's mouth was, "What do you have on?" My friend Lou Lazzanaro made me wear sneakers. You know, I always wear crocodile shoes.
Right.
Vinny goes, "What the hell you got on your feet?" Because we were walking back and forth to the paddock, to the grandstand, back and forth, and then we had the other horse there, the Renegade, owned by Mike Rapoli, gave him neck to neck right at the end. It was one of the greatest thing, and congratulations to Sherry, you know, the first female winner of the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
And I tell you, what a day. Then I went up to the
Now, but by the way, you mentioned Renegade. I do want to mention this because you're right. Renegade came in second behind Golden Tempo. First time ever that brothers, how about that?
Yeah.
Jose Ortiz, the jockey for Golden Tempo, and his brother Erod, he ran Renegade. The brothers, the jockeys, finished 1 and 2 in that race.
Well, you got to watch Renegade. That's all I say. Watch Renegade. Renegade is no slouch horse, and he'll be right in it with the Preakness there. I don't know if they're running, who they're running, but watch Renegade. He's a formidable horse, and I think Vinny's going to have a great horse in the Preakness also. Can't tell you everything right away. Okay.
Oh, I do want to know this before you move on to the next story, and that is, I was with my buddy Keith Kantrowitz last night. I love Keith. He took me to the Yankee game to celebrate my birthday, and he's been up to Saratoga for 50 years. He's got a big house up there. He owned a bar up there. He's a big deal. And, of course, they've got the Belmont, the third leg of the Triple Crown this year. Something tells me, Bo Dietl, that you'll be rocking Saratoga for the Belmont, yes?
Absolutely. Lou Lazzanaro has the restaurant, the Italian restaurant there. We'll be hanging out there. Why don't you come up? You know,
I'm going to.
One of the great things about the Kentucky Derby, you have this turf club. All the billionaires are there. So I met a guy that I never met before, and we've talked. I talked about your show. He'd love to come on your show.
Cool.
A guy named Dana White. Dana White, the head of the UFC.
Yeah, I love
I mentioned about your great show, and you should come on. He said, I'd love to come on your show.
Love Dana.
And,
I love Dana. And, you know, Dana's the type of guy. Thank you for doing that, Bo. He's actually been on the show before. He's been in studio years ago with me and my late great partner, Bernard. So he knows a little bit about the show. But Dana's the type of guy that would not live in New York. He lives in Vegas, I believe. But he's the type of guy, right? He would never live in New York because, as you described him, he's a billionaire. And your good friend, the mayor, is trying to drive all the billionaires out.
Yeah, before we get into that scumbag, you know, we got to take a little time out. My prayers are with my dear friend Rudy Giuliani. You know, I go back with Rudy Giuliani a long, long way. You know, when I retired in 1985 from the police department, I got involved with Ralph Scopo. This was tied into the commission case with the 5 crime family that Rudy took down. So I was doing the investigation for Ralph Scopo to no avail. Rudy had a rock solid case against the whole commission case. He indicted them all. He convicted them all. He took down everything. So Rudy and I became very good friends. Then in '88, when Rudy first ran for mayor of New York City, I was one of the first people to endorse him. He lost that race. 4 years later, he runs again, and Rudy's with me. And I'm going to tell you something. When he became mayor, we had 2,000 murders and all that stuff. Rudy turned this city around and all this quality of life. He was the great mayor of New York City. Then September 11th, when the towers came down, I went down there with Mike Ciravalla, and we stayed down there, and I was down there, and Rudy was down there, and our great commissioner, Bertie Kerrick, was there, God rest his soul. He led this country and city out of that. And then more recently,
Rudy is on the Homeland Security Advisory Council to the president with me. And you want to talk about two outspoken guys in the council. When Rudy and I go at it on certain issues of security and all that, nobody else could talk. It's me and Rudy going back and forth. I love Rudy Giuliani, and he's a great American, and God make him healthy, and I hope to see him at our next Security Council meeting because we need him. We need him to protect our country, and we need him for America. And I've been talking with Andrew Giuliani.
Yeah, me too.
He heads up the FIFA, and he told me, he's not out of the woods yet, but thank God he's off the...
No, he's off the ventilator. He turned the corner, and what people need to know is, talking about 9/11, of course, that he is suffering from a 9/11 illness. He's got a restrictive breathing disorder. So he is, believe it or not, he's one of the victims of 9/11 years and years later.
He was down there. I'm going to give you some numbers because so many of the naysayers, they did a Harris poll, Capps Harris poll. Now listen to this, because when we talk about the midterms, here is the big policies that are supported by all voters, Republican, Democrat. Deporting violent illegal immigrants, 75% support. Cracking down on fraud, 73%. Slashing prescription drugs, 84%. Limiting women's and biological females, 63%. Use of tariffs, 49%. And 74% of Americans say it is our interest to stop Tehran from obtaining a nuke. So in other words, everybody talks bullcrap, but let's see what the president is doing now, all you naysayers. The people who are voters support what our president's doing because we have to have our country together. And in these midterms, remember, if you vote for these jerk-off Democrats, these liberal jerk-off Democrats, our country's going to be in a quagmire. Also, perfect example, this judge, Zia Fakwani. He's a Washington judge. Listen to this jerk-off. He actually apologized to the assassin there, that guy Cole Allen.
Well, though, thank God, the would-be assassin, he didn't kill President Trump. His name is Zia Faruqi. Right, Faruqi. And yes, he apologized because of the very, very, very poor jail conditions. And as you're killing him right now, Jeanine Pirro opened a can of whoop-ass on this judge yesterday. Another instance where Bo Dietl, Sid Rosenberg, Jeanine Pirro are talking about some idiot judge that once again is feeling badly for the bad guys, not the good guys.
Yeah, and you know what? And then we gotta save a little time for the jerk off of jerk offs. Our Mayor Mondummy. All of a sudden, remember Spirit Airlines took a shitter? Excuse me, I can't use that word. They took a bleep that. Okay, Spirit Airlines went down. Biden's Lena Khan, she was the antitrust crusader. Guess who she's with? She's the one that stopped that whole merger with JetBlue, with the same Spirit Airlines. Guess where she is now? She's working for Mondummy as an economic advisor. He hired her now. So this is what we're dealing with. Also, now all of a sudden, with the $30 million, the city wants to put $30 million in some cucaracha store in East Harlem there. $30 million. This guy is a psychopath child running this great city. And you know what? If the people wanted New York back, there's only one way we can take it back quickly. And everybody's got to get behind Blakeman. And you know what? When Blakeman becomes the governor, he could put a rein on this smiley-faced piece of garbage. So in reality, the only way out for New York City right now in the next 6 months is to vote for Blakeman. If we don't get Blakeman and get rid of Snaggletooth Hochner out of there, New York City is damned. And everyone's going to move out. And you know what? We see all these people and this piece of garbage. He's an American citizen, and his name is Singham. He's the one that's been payrolling all this DSA, Democratic Socialist America. What they do, people, what they do is they get all these volunteers out there. They set up the voters. They bring them out, and no matter what candidate's there, they use it like a crusade. They want to take over New York City, which they've done, and they want to spread it across our country. We are in a crusade against the radical DSA people. These are scumbags, and we have to band together. We have to vote for people that are against these people. And you know what?
with this May Day rally. You know what May Day was all about? It's a communist holiday. And who do you think paid for it? Singham, this piece of garbage billionaire who lives in China, who's an American citizen. This is all funded. We should start investigating all these socialists and start locking these people up. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I am really, really upset.
Yep.
We got schools, and they're teaching our kids about socialism. Why don't they teach them math and spelling?
Right.
Their rates are so low, and 1 out of 3 don't even go to school. That's the kind of schools that Mondami's running. The only thing he cares about is teaching socialism and communism. We got to get rid of this smiley face piece of garbage.
Well done, Bo. Another amazing appearance. And don't forget his jihadist curriculum, too. Okay? He's got a lot of that. And to your point, and that was an excellent appearance, Bo, you're right about Bruce Blakeman. That's why exactly 2 hours ago at 6:30 this morning in the first hour of my show today, I had Bruce Blakeman on live. Bruce Blakeman, as we speak, Bo Dietl, is on his way to Washington, D.C. He's got a meeting in the Oval Office with President Trump today. They're going to discuss all the issues with the city with Mamdani, all the issues with the state with the wretched Kathy Hochul. So as we speak, Bo Dietl, to your point, it was a great point. Bruce has to win. Blakeman on his way to visit with President Trump later on today. Excellent job, Bo Dietl. That wraps up hour number 2.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I guess they call them briefings, and they air them live on Fox News, 8 o'clock in the morning, and Pete's the guy, and he's going on and on about how the ceasefire is not over. And I would just say to Pete Hegseth, maybe somebody should tell Iran that. What do I care what Pete Hegseth? I like Pete, don't get me wrong. Pete, great guy, Secretary of Army, very happy for him. Trump, I guess, still likes him. You never know with Trump. You just don't know. But he may say the ceasefire is not over, but Iran is certainly acting like it is, sending missiles towards 2 American destroyers yesterday. And that has been the issue, I think, with this war and why my friend President Trump is starting to get his ass kicked. He says the polls aren't real. They're real. He's getting his ass kicked in terms of the popularity. 66% now believe this was a bad idea, and it's not a bad idea. It's a great idea. President Trump showed immense courage and did the right thing. This is the #1 world sponsor of terror. Trust me, I'm Jewish. I've been to Israel 4 times. I'm going back in June. I know what these animals do. I know. Okay? Trump did the right thing, but the longer this thing goes on, like I told Greg Kelly, we are reaching Nancy Guthrie status. The longer it goes on, the less people care, and the less people think we're doing a good job. It's a fact. So Hegseth can say what he wants, and the president can too. But it's starting to hurt us now. That's my opinion. I've been saying that now for a couple of weeks. We need to find a way to end this. I don't want my friends from the Pentagon who came on this show and called me and said, we're stuck. I don't want them to be right. And even though Greg Kelly will argue that away and others, I'm sorry. No one loves Trump more than me, but it looks like we're stuck. Like, what are we doing? What's going on? So these briefings, even though they serve as some type of purpose to fill in the American people, I don't know how accurate they are. I don't think the messaging, Noam, is my point here. I don't think the messaging has been very good, even from the president. I love Trump, but come on. From day one, we were winning big. No, we're not. Gas prices are $6.50. They're still firing missiles at our ships in the Strait. I mean, we seemingly are stuck. There's got to be better messaging because not every American's a moron. Is that fair to say, no?
Yeah, well, look, the president won on some of his messaging was affordability, that word. And now some of these people who voted for him are saying, wait a minute, prices are just as high or maybe higher than they were before he came into office.
No,
and they're saying,
true.
What's going on?
I mean, you got the jerk off here, too. The mayor, he ran on affordability. He won on that and the fact that he hates Jewish people, which New Yorkers seem to like these days. And nothing's affordable here. The same thing with Mamdani, right? Free buses are not free, and rents are going up. Suzanne Miller tells me, Corey Zelnick tells me, rents are going up. So the affordability issue in New York that he ran on and he won on, and he won relatively easily. Cuomo put up a decent fight. Curtis was a joke. But he's not fixing that either. No.
Nope.
Maybe a tale of caution. Yeah, you're running affordability. Are you really going to fix it?
Well, and people want that, with the mayor, it's 4 months in, 5 months in.
Yeah.
With the president, it's longer. So people say, wait a minute, they're really starting to question the war and how long it's taking.
Don't worry
and how much
about it.
money
Okay,
it's
take it easy. Fine. He'll fix it. He'll fix it.
Okay, by the way, if you want to know, Hegseth was announcing today that we sunk 6 Iranian ships in the last couple of days.
Remember the game when you were growing up as a kid, Battleship?
I love that game.
Yeah. I sunk your battleship. Remember the commercial? I sunk your battleship.
F2.
Yeah, you can figure it out, though, in 5 minutes. As
I
soon
know.
as you got one, you got the whole thing.
I know. It wasn't all that difficult, but I still love the game. But listening to these guys, it's like they're playing Battleship. We sunk 5 battleships. Anyway.
It's like
good
the real
news.
thing.
It's all good news.
You know what this tip is? I know what the whole tip is.
Joe Gruters is the 67th chairman of the Republican National Committee. He was a senator down in the state of Florida up until about 2025. He's a very impressive guy. I like him. Never got along great with Rance Priebus. Never got along bad with the guy. He was on a couple of times, but we didn't exactly hit it off. But I like Joe. So we'll take a break. This is a surprise. We didn't know this was going to happen, but John Catsimatidis, he's great with this. All these people come to visit John, and when they do that, John is always kind enough, very gracious, to bring them down here, especially if I'm still on, to put them on live. And Joe Gruters is a very, very important man in our efforts to win elections moving forward. So we'll take a quick break, come back.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Lara Trump is one of my all-time favorite people. She's on this show every week. And again, she's got My View, 9 p.m. Saturday nights. It's a great show on Fox News and a podcast as well. I've had the conversation with you, Lara, a couple of times now. Now, I know it sounds wacky. They said it was wacky when a TV show host of a reality show was running for president. They said it was wacky when a super action hero was running for governor of the state of California, or an actor was running for governor in the state of California, or a rapper was running for mayor in New York. That's why I keep saying to you, I got to run for mayor in 2029 because this guy is going to kill all of us.
Sid, would you please do it? Can we confirm that right here? Because as you heard, that kind of lead into that whole soundbite you played there, we all want New York City to return. This is the greatest city on earth. think about how many people have been made by New York. You could argue Donald Trump would not be in the White House right now had it not been for the city of New York. He changed the skyline, but it changed him, and it made him into the person he is today, the greatest president this country has ever seen. We have to have that city come back, and we need somebody who understands how to do it. We need a fighter, someone who's not going to lay down and roll over for all the woke lunatics out there. And God knows, Sid, we know you wouldn't do it if they tried. They could hold your feet to the fire. You wouldn't have it.
I had Samantha Ettus in earlier today. She talked about the mayoral candidate in Los Angeles. That lady, I forgot her name already. But she's starting to gain some steam up against people like Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt, who happen to want to win that race. Anyway, winning these races is the future of this country. And you need a very strong chairman of the RNC. And Lara, of course, along with Michael Whatley, fixed a lot of stuff that was broken. It was broken. They fixed it. And we had a good election in 2024, which our guy Trump won, going away. We can't make that same argument for 2020. We got the guy in place right now. He's terrific. I really like this guy a lot. Glad to meet him here in studio this morning, Joe Gruters. Joe, welcome to New York City, buddy. How are you?
Hey, I love New York City. I was at the Yankees game last night, and I agree with...
So was I.
Yeah, I'm all with Laura Trump. I think you should run for mayor. She's your first endorsement. I'll be your second. The party's ready.
I've actually got another endorsement from a guy who, as we speak, Joe, is on the way to meet with President Trump in the Oval Office this morning. He's running for governor of New York. He's dying for me to run for mayor. Bruce Blakeman.
Well, we really need him to perform well here in New York. We got a couple of big congressional races that are really going to help, shape the future of the country and the majority in Congress. But Blakeman, he has a chance to win it. Your governor is an absolute disaster, along with Mamdani. Basically, they're steering New York further and further to the left, away from the mainstream, and we have a chance to win these races.
I think we do, too. the president of the New York Yankees, Randy Levine, is coming on after you, just so you know. So you were both there last night for that easy Yankee win. You know, I look at New York, it's a mess. You mentioned Mamdani and Hochul. I look at California, Blue City, Blue State Sanctuary, Bass, Newsom, it's a mess. Same thing with Chicago, with Johnson and Pritzker. We can go on and on. Then I look at your state. I know everybody loves Ron DeSantis. He's got his lovers and not so much lovers. But who can argue about the job he does as governor? Hard to argue. You look at people like Rick Scott down there, Randy Fine, one of my all-time favorites in Congress. Look at the way your state is run and how you people live compared to these blue states.
Well, you know, you mentioned Randy Fine. I don't know if you know this, but he was my roommate in Tallahassee. My family travels with Randy Fine's family, and he's my next-door neighbor in D.C. I gave him the nickname the Hebrew Hammer because he has one of the strongest right-handed hooks in politics.
You gave him that nickname?
I gave him the nickname. He is one of the smartest guys I know, and we're so fortunate to have him. But you also mentioned Governor Rick Scott, who is by far one of the greatest human beings and one of the champions of that I would call him the economic champion of the world. He ran on jobs when Florida was at a low. Now Florida is absolutely screaming. And you're right. DeSantis has given us great conservative leadership. Florida is, you know, when I became the chairman of the Republican Party of Florida in 2018, we were minus 450,000 voter registrations. When I left, we were at 450,000 voter registrations ahead. And today, we're over 1.5 million voters ahead of the Democrats. We're a solid red state. We're never going back. So happy to be part of that team down there.
And when I lived there, Rick Scott was my governor. And now, of course, he's a senator. He's terrific. He's on this show quite a bit. And, yeah, you guys, you do it right down there. I mean, you got to get rid of Debbie Wasserman Schultz at some point. That's a whole other story. But poor Fort Lauderdale. But otherwise, you guys do it right. But, look, there's a lot of fear right now. And I'll use the word fear, even bigger than paranoia, that the midterms are going to crush us. And the war is still going on, okay? Gas prices are still way too high. Sorry. Interest rates, war shall come in and help us, thank God, but way too high. Cost of living, way too high. And a lot of people that are even Trump supporters, like me, I love the man, are starting to think we're kind of stuck in Iran. We're stuck. We're not in a position where we're not doing as well as Pete Hegseth told you at 8 o'clock this morning, and that's going to affect us come November. What are your thoughts?
Listen, this is going to be a temporary conflict. And why has no president gone after this in 47 years? Because it's high political risk, low political reward. So why do it? This president's doing it because he's doing the right thing. He's trying to make sure America is in a better place, the world's in a better place, and he's willing to take that risk. And look, this conflict is temporary. I talked to the president about it. We're going to get out of here. But people, how soon they forget the fact that under Biden inflation, those 4 years, inflation was at 9%. Gas prices were the highest they ever were. And listen, every single day, this president's focused on the average American worker. He's gone to bat for him. He wants everybody to achieve that American dream. And listen, as soon as this conflict's over, I know that the nose is going to come up, and he's going to go back to work for everybody.
Well, he's got to go back to work now, very soon, I should say, and go to all these cities and states that have very close congressional battles. But we can't lose the House, and we can't lose the Senate. We'll be dead meat. So he's got to start really rallying for these people. I mean, I don't know what you think about a lot of the folks that are running for us over the next couple of months, but the last couple of elections have not been kind to us.
Well, listen, that's what we're doing. We know 43 days of the shutdown earlier this year, and they basically held the government hostage. We know we can't allow these guys to win. We have no option other than to win. And listen, what we've done as a party, Lord Trump started this with Michael Watley, but what we've done is we've gone out there and recruited the best candidates. We don't need to win a national popular vote. There's basically 35 congressional seats, 5 U.S. Senate seats. We've gone out and recruited candidates that could win. Rogers in Michigan, for example. Sununu in New Hampshire, right? Watley in North Carolina. We could win these seats. We have raised a ton of money. We have the best showman that's ever existed in our party in Donald J. Trump. He is going to barnstorm the country. We're going to do things that's never been done before, like a midterm convention. Why? I tell people it's going to be a Trumpapalooza. We're going to be able to highlight all the amazing things that this president has done. We're going to highlight it, showcase it to the American people. Then he's going to be on the road for 60 days because the president's already proved 3 times that he can convince these low-propensity voters to show up, and that's what we're going to do.
Let's stick with New York for a second. That you're in New York City right now. Lawler's going to win because he just does. Doesn't matter. But there's a couple of races that scare me. One is Long Island. You got Gillen. She beat my buddy Anthony D'Esposito. She's running again. I like Driscoll. She was on the show a couple of days ago with Peter King. I think she offers Nassau County a lot, but she'll go in as the underdog. And then you got Mike LaPetri for the second straight time, Joe, trying to beat Tom Suozzi. And Suozzi, for some reason, I don't know why, he's very nice to me, but he's phony. For some reason, he appeals to both Democrats and Republicans. Those two specific races on Long Island, those two seats. Any thoughts on that?
Well, listen, they're going to have to run with Mamdani and the record that he's done here in New York City. And listen, at the end of the day, that may be the big difference. I think that the president will visit Long Island. He loves New York. This is ultimately his home. Although I like to claim him home in Florida now, but New York is his home also. And he told me we're going after these Long Island seats. I think we could win them. I think with the election here that happened last year, I think it's going to play a major impact. And listen, we're all in. We have the resources to fight. We're going to obliterate our opponents, and we're going to do whatever it takes to hold this majority. We have to win. There's no excuses. Win at all costs, and that's the end of the day.
I love it, Joe. Joe Gruters, he's the chairman of the RNC. You know, I was a little kid once in Brooklyn, New York, okay? Small little town, you may have heard of it. And I was a Democrat. And I love this guy, Ed Koch. He was our mayor. I loved him. I even liked Bill Clinton. Not going to lie to you, I liked him. And now I can't even talk to a Democrat. I bring her up all the time. I love my sister. I do. I love her. But, you know, I can't believe she's a smart girl. She went to New Paltz for teaching. Her husband is a very smart guy. And I can't believe they still align themselves with the Democrats. Joe Gruters, what the hell happened to this party that they are more concerned about trying to make Donald Trump look bad than actually service Americans?
Trump derangement syndrome is real, and the Democrats haven't. I blame the mainstream media for all the negative coverage on the president. No matter what he does, they're against it. And it's not just Trump derangement syndrome anymore. It's almost American derangement syndrome, because you're basically rooting against America every single day. They're not running on any policies. They're just running on the fact that they want to stop the momentum this president's doing. And what the president's doing is working every single day to make sure the average American out there can live the American dream and live in a peaceful world.
Are you starting to think yet, Joe, about who's next? You know, I had Trump on, it was last year, and I said, at the end of the conversation, I said, no, it was this year. And I said, I'm sad. And he said, why? I said, because you're leaving. You know, I know we like to talk about Alan Dershowitz's new book and One Again in 28, and Eric Trump has all the hats, but you're leaving, and what am I going to do? I love Marco Rubio. He's my choice, by the way, Joe, not J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio. But either way, there's not going to be a Trump in 2028. Have you guys started to think about that at the RNC?
Yes, and I am loyal to the president and his team, and we're trying to do everything we can to support his administration. Yes, it's very sad to think about the fact that he is going to be out in 2028 because he's been such a champion, not only for our party, but for America. Go back to this Iran conflict. Why would anybody do that? He's doing it because he genuinely wants to help the country. He genuinely cares about the average. You talk about empathy, high emotional IQ. This president has it, and he really cares about people, and he's putting the best interest of the average everyday American first and foremost, which in the world of politics you can't do because you have all these special interest groups. He's the only one that was elected without any type of, I like to call it barnacles, that you collect as an elected official. He's doing the right thing every single day, and that's why the Democrats can't stand it. They can't stand it because he's making changes. He's leading with the best interest of the American people every single day.
Last one. I still have Republican friends, Joe, that they say this to me. They go, if I vote, so what? I hate when I do that. I hate that. What do you mean, so what? They're going to cheat anyway. You speak to a lot of Republicans. They're either going to try to redistrict. What Virginia just did was terrible. They're going to try to gerrymander all they can. They tried it here in New York. Nicole Maliotakis won a big case with the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court came up big for us on a federal level last week. Barack Obama is still smarting. But a lot of Republicans feel like between what goes on at some of these polling centers, and it still happens in cities across America, and the gerrymandering and all that, that Democrats still find a way to cheat and win. How can you soothe the concerns of the Republican voters?
Well, Sid, you had it right. I mean, New York started the gerrymandering fight a couple years ago. Virginia's not over. I think we have a chance to win that in the courts. We obviously changed maps in Florida. The VRA had a huge difference, but a lot of people don't know Lord Trump, Michael Whatley did an amazing job because a lot of people don't know because after the 2020 cycle, the president and the party put me in charge of the election integrity efforts to find out what happened in 2020. Nobody really knows that. But it wasn't to overturn the election. It was to make sure what happened in 2020 never happens again. And we've been working hard every day since. Every cycle, we're getting better. Right now, we have 132 lawsuits, 32 different states. We're bringing the hammer. Wherever we gain an advantage, wherever we can litigate, we're not being proactive. We're not being reactive. We're being proactive, and we're going to make sure we have safe and secure elections because that's what the president's asked me to do. He said, "Act now, don't wait." And listen, we're winning. We're on the cusp of our biggest election integrity win ever in the Watson versus RNC case. A lot of people don't know 14 states in the District of Columbia allow absentee ballots to be counted after Election Day. I was at the Supreme Court a couple weeks ago. We're expecting this verdict any day now. And what's going to happen is now Election Day will mean exactly what it means, Election Day. And so they can't hold these elections for weeks or months on end as they go and gather voters. We're on the cusp of our biggest election integrity victory ever, but we have a lot more election victories that you don't hear about every day, and it's making a difference. Every single cycle, we're getting better. We're keeping our eye on the ball to make sure that we could deliver safe and secure and fair elections, not only for the 2026 cycle, but for the 2028 and beyond.
You never lost a fight, have you?
Listen, I'd like to win.
You beat some ass. In high school, you beat a lot of ass. Let's be honest. Come on, Joe. You're a tough guy. I love you. I think you're great. I do. And you need a strong guy in that position because our party has been taken advantage of over the years. Again, Laura and Whatley did a great job. And these elections, the midterms, the presidential election, we need somebody strong. You're that guy. It's an honor to meet you. I'm thrilled you've got this position. And keep kicking ass. We got to win these elections, bottom line.
Let's crush it, Sid.
Let's do it. Joe Gruters right there, folks. He is the chairman of the RNC, and we're lucky to have him.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Anthony Barbarese. I see him there every now and then at the salon. He's also friends with Raul. So he contacts me, and he goes, my daughter, who grew up in a lovely place, which I know very well, Cresskill. Cresskill is next to Tenafly in New Jersey. Nice little Bergen County town. Says, my daughter, who grew up in Cresskill, is a finalist on American Idol. How about that, Lou?
That's crazy.
I know.
I can't believe it.
She didn't win, but she was a finalist. And local girl, again, growing up in New Jersey. And she just released her first single, and that's it. It's called I Can't Help It. And her name is Amanda Barbarese, which I guess she got her dad's name short, which is Barbarese, Anthony Barbarese. So congratulations to Anthony and Amanda and the whole family. All kidding aside, she sounded great.
Oh, yeah. Good voice.
Yeah.
Really
good voice, and I love that, I guess, the band there. I guess. What would you call that?
The people who play the instruments?
No, not that. Jesus Christ.
What you're trying to... I don't know. The dugout?
Go with the dugout. That'll work.
I don't know what
Dugout.
you're trying to say.
No, the way the music, it's...
tempo, the melody.
No, it's not that either.
It's kind of like jazzy, maybe?
It is very jazzy, yes.
The genre.
But there was a guy who did all that stuff for Frank Sinatra, and I forgot his name. Yeah, kind of that. That's arrangement.
Arranger.
There you go.
Yes.
Very good. Nicely done.
Oh, my God. I love these games.
Yeah, well, this is...
Now we don't have to do anything on the ferry today. Great.
Right. We play this every morning. It's called Jeopardy for Retards.
I like that thing that goes on with her singing. Here's your first subject. Go.
My wife comes in. Big one. Beautiful Danielle. She's right. She sounds like Basha. She does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one, Dean.
I hear
right.
that.
Yeah, you hear that too, right?
She has an R&B soulful sound.
Yeah, she's real good. Congratulations, Amanda. We'll take a short break. When we get back, my new best friend, I was with him again last night. There is not a more hospitable person, I mean this, in all of New York. He doesn't have to be. He's the president of the New York Yankees. People beg him every day to be at the stadium.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It is
high, it is far, it is gone! Giambino, a thriller by Godzilla. It's an A-bomb from A-Rod. Burn, baby burn. El Capitan, Robbie Cano, don't you know? Georgie Juice WRLD, dating Gregorian, makes Yankee fans euphoria. Oh, the milkman delivers.
That's baseball, Susan.
Mark sends a text message. One of the best games you'll ever see. Perfect game. Baseball immortality. The Bam Tito. Gone. Number 62 to set the new American League record. All right. Here comes the judge. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
John Sterling will be sorely missed. I was at the stadium last night. They did a beautiful job. The bouquets down by home plate, Michael Kay, Susan Waldman. The Yankee organization from top to bottom is class. That's the bottom line. And their president is like my favorite person in the world right now. He's right there with Trump and Danielle. And that is Randy Levine, who I saw again last night in the Bronx. Randy, good Tuesday morning, buddy. How are you?
Hiya, Sid. How are you?
I'm
I hope
great.
You got a little sleep finally last night.
I
hope
did.
You got a little bit.
I did. I got about 3 hours. And I feel great this morning. I feel great. I love being at the stadium last night. And again, you guys did, Randy, such a nice job. Tribute to John Sterling. And you and I spoke earlier in the day yesterday and again last night at the stadium. And you realize, of course, the importance of John Sterling to not just the Yankee fan, Randy, but to baseball in general.
John Sterling was an iconic figure. He stood out, cut his own way. He broke the mold, the traditional baseball radio announcer. He created his own personality, and he was likable. You're not going to see somebody like John Sterling ever again. His confidence, his wit, his likability. I mean, he was just, you knew him, Sid. He was just such a likable person. And not only was he likable, he loved the fans. I mean, I would come out after a game, it would be late, and, John would be there signing autographs for the fans. He'd stay there for half an hour, 45 minutes. He would do whatever it took. He loved it. It was his life. And, the brilliance to come up with, the home run calls and the taglines. There'll be nobody like him. Our players adored him all through the years. There'll never be one like him. Just like I always say, there'll never be another George Steinbrenner. These kind of people, they come around once in a generation. There's never going to be another John Sterling.
I agree. I feel the same way about Bob Shepard. I still hear his voice.
Same thing.
Right?
Exactly
right, Randy?
Exactly right. 100%. They never come around. You look at the great tradition of Yankee announcers, from Mel Allen to Phil Rizzuto. They're all absolutely fantastic, but they all had a little different style, and John's style was different than them, and he patented it. And through all the years of winning, he was the voice of the summer. He really was in the fall. I mean, no matter where you went, you heard the radio on, and people were listening to John Sterling, whether they were at a barbecue, whether they were at the beach in their car. No matter where they were listening to John Sterling talking about all the great Yankee teams.
So well done. And look, no disrespect to Dave Sims, who I like a lot, know him for many, many years, but he's new at this job, You got two mainstays right now, two legends. They're legends, too. Michael Kay doing the Yes television broadcast, and, of course, Susan Waldman, the finest female, not that it matters, but the finest female announcer and analyst in the history of the game. They're still there, and both of them, from what I saw, Randy, both Michael and Susan were really broken up the last couple of days.
They were. I mean, they were so close. And, Michael and John were partners for many years, and, Susan and John, what a great combo they are. The famous That's Baseball, Susan.
Yeah.
It's used all over the game today.
Yeah.
Still. And, no, they're both fabulous. We're lucky to have both of them. And, they were really touched, as were all of us in the organization, by John. And we're going to announce some things in the coming days that we'll keep on remembering him.
I love that. This is the amazing president of the New York Yankees. Truly one of the finest and nicest people I've ever met. I love coming. I go to his, suite, whatever, and he's always got great people there. General Keane or Sunshine or Errol. Love Errol Toulon, of course, the sheriff from Suffolk County. Always somebody special. Always somebody great because Randy's friends with everybody. Everybody loves Randy Levine, and I have to say, even the guys, Curtis outside the door and Ray. When I come to your stadium, I've never felt this before. I've been going to sporting events for a long time, Randy, in New York, down in Miami. I never felt like I feel like when I come visit you and the folks at Yankee Stadium, and that's not an accident. I feel like, Randy, you make sure that people feel that way, and that's why people like General Keane, a true American hero, they keep coming back almost every night.
Well, that's quite a tribute, and I really appreciate it. But it really goes to the people who work there. We try and make Yankee Stadium, and in these times where there's people have trouble and people are upset, baseball and the Yankees are a diversion, and we try and make it entertaining. It's great when we're winning. That's what the Yankees are about, winning and tradition. And it's a place where everyone comes together. Sid, you and I were talking last night. You saw the crowd. It's such an incredibly diverse crowd, and so many women fans now. And everyone just coming together, no matter what you think, no matter what you look like, no matter what your politics. Everyone's there to just relax, have a good time, and root for the Yankees. That's what our staff's all about.
Yep.
And that's what we try. Everybody's welcome there every game.
It's one of the few places left in the world where that can happen, whether it's Yankee Stadium or other sporting venues, which are becoming less and less around the country. But certainly you guys can boast that. And we got a big date coming up, thanks to you. And I have to mention Stephanie because I love her. And whenever I mention her, she gets a lot of phone calls, Randy, just so you know. So.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You and
she
Stephanie.
Loves it. She's worth it. She's great.
Oh, she's great. And you guys are helping out Danielle and I with our charity, Dyspraxia, dcdamerica.org, which was inspired by our son Gabriel, who was diagnosed as a little boy with dyspraxia. You've met Gabriel more than once. You told me last night, you tell Gabe he wants to come to a Yankee game. He can come without his daddy. He can come alone. I told him that already.
He can come alone or come with some buddies. Absolutely. Anytime.
I love that. And we got a big date set up.
He's the long-term Yankee fan.
Yes, he
in the
is.
Family, too.
And he's the real Yankee fan. He started as a Yankee fan. He didn't switch like me, but we got a big date coming up that Saturday, August the 22nd. You guys are going to host the Blue Jays, and I want to thank you again on behalf of Danielle and Gabriel and all the folks around the world that have been diagnosed with dyspraxia. That is a very, very beautiful thing, Randy, you guys are doing.
Well, that's what we're about. That's what it's all about. If we can help people and get people well, that's what it's about. That's the highest thing we can do. Winning baseball games is really important. That's what we're about. But if we can use the Yankee brand to help solve people's problems, God bless. That's what we're about.
And it's a big deal for my son and those people. Now, you did at one point last night, I'm going to remind you about this, Randy. Team is red hot. Just swept 4 straight from Baltimore. Had a couple of sweeps the last couple of weeks. Swept the Royals, swept the Red Sox, swept Baltimore. Texas is coming into town to face the hottest team in baseball. That's you guys. And you did say to me last night that it may not be coincidence that about the time.
Let me say it, Sid. I mean, since you switched, we're like on a roll here. I think we lost one game, so you get a little credit. That's it. We got some good vibes going.
So wait, so you as the president of the most valued and best franchise in the history of sports, the New York Yankees, you're actually giving me credit for this red-hot couple of weeks by the Yanks.
Who might argue with the universe, Sid? Who might argue with the universe?
Now, you guys, you look great, I tell you. And I think in games where we hit more than two homers or more, we're 16-1. And, Aaron Judge seemingly hits a home run every single day. Ben Rice off to a great start. He hasn't played the last 2 days, but He's been fantastic. And on the way out, we talked about this last night. When you can throw Max Fried on a Sunday and then Schindler on a Monday, and you're still waiting for guys like Cole and Rondon to come back, I don't know. I mean, that's the best starting rotation in baseball. And if the guys are going to hit like this, Randy, this is a World Series club, bottom line.
Well, we've had a good month. It's a long season. We've been really, we've stayed healthy. That's the key. And we're going to have to stay healthy and be consistent. And, a lot of our young players, Ben Rice, Cam Schindler, they're coming into their own. You'll see Elmer Rodriguez tonight. We have a lot of really good players. Our organization, Cash and the baseball operations people deserve an awful lot of credit for developing these players. So with a little luck, we'll be playing deep into October.
I think you will. Final 30 seconds. I love my job. I love what I do, and I think part of the reason why I do so well, it translates. When I see you at Yankee Stadium, and I know it's your job and you're the president, and you're a sweet guy, but you love your job, don't you? You love your job.
I do. I really do love it. Like your job, it has good days and bad days, ups and downs, but it's a great job. I've been doing it for 27 years, and I love it, and hopefully I try to get a little better at it every day.
No, you're already the best by far. You don't have to get any better. By the way, Randy Levine now has been the Yankee president the same amount of number as the championships the Yankees have won. 27.
We need another one.
We need one more, maybe this year. Hey, Randy, I love you. You were great again last night. You're really much too nice to me. You really are. But you're terrific, and I love you, and thank you so much. And we'll see you in the Bronx again very, very soon.
You got it, Sid. Always great talking to you. Take care and say hello to your guys.
You got it. Thank you so much. The great Randy Levine right there, the president of the red-hot New York Yankees, and they're set to host. How about this? Brandon Nimmo, Jacob deGrom on the mound tonight. Steve Cohen may be there. He'll be there for one of these games as the Yankees get set to host the Texas Rangers. Quick break, still more to do. I'll hand the football off to Brian Kilmeade in about 30 minutes.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Dolly Parton talking about herself. I think you had that moment.
I do. You want to hear it?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Okay, here was Dolly from yesterday.
And I have some good news and a little bad news. But the good news is I'm responding really well to meds and treatments, and I'm improving every day. It's going to take me a little while before I'm up to stage performance level because some of the meds and treatments make me a little bit swimmy-headed, as my grandma used to say. And, of course, I can't be dizzy carrying around banjos, guitars, and such on 5-inch heels.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, she sounds young still, and she talks like a youngster, but... So what is the actual problem with her?
So she has not officially said, but what's out there is that she has chronic kidney stones, and then that's creating some issues with her digestive system, and so she's just got to wait it out. I mean, they're not saying it's anything that's going to take her down, but she doesn't want to go back on stage until all of that's over. So
is she supposed to be touring right now?
Yeah, she had a residency set for December of last year.
80 years old, bro.
Yeah. In Vegas, she was going to do a slew of shows. She canceled them, and then she put them in for September of this year.
Yeah.
But she now said, you know what, I'm not going to make it for the September shows. So she didn't even, I don't think they've even scheduled new ones yet.
I think Barry Manilow canceled his shows recently, too.
He did. He was having issues as well, but I think he's okay.
He's okay, but he's not rescheduling those. He says he is going to return. The good news is he will perform in Vegas again, but not in the very near future. So if you want to see Dolly Parton and or Barry Manilow in Vegas, you want a safe bet? It ain't going to happen.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of sad. I want to get Abraham Hamra on the show because I like him. He's smart. He's a dear friend of me and Danielle. So you want to take a quick break and come back and talk to Aby?
We can do that.
Let's do that because he's got a petition that he wants a whole bunch of people to sign. And when AB starts yelling, it's very, very scary. It really is. You got these Persian Jews all fired up. Ain't nothing like a yelling and screaming Persian Jew. And Abraham Hamra, I believe, is the best of them. I get all these Iranians now. They contact me. You notice that, Justin?
Persians, baby.
I keep sending you all the messages that, hey, I'm from Iran and I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
There's like 3 different guys who contacted me.
A few interesting stories.
I don't know.
I mean, you can't tell if they're full of it or not.
I have no idea. So
Right.
when I speak to a Persian guy, it's got to be AB. That's it.
That's it.
He's my my Persian guy, and he's Jewish. So we'll take a break. We'll come back and talk to Abraham Hamra.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
He said, the only time I've ever not looked good to you is when I wore the Yankee hat yesterday.
That is what I said.
Because my head is shaped weird. I can't wear a hat. I'm bald. It's Harper bald got to look good in a
There's
hat.
no way you
bottom
could
line.
possibly disagree, though. I mean,
No.
did you look in the mirror?
What did I say?
You said it first.
I never wear a hat. There's a reason for it, dick face.
Can we take a picture of that and then put
No,
it up, though?
there'll be no
so people can
pictures.
see it?
No.
Talking about a dick face, you look like one.
I want people
I actually said a dick with ears yesterday. That's what I look like. You're right.
Other people should be able to enjoy it just like us.
No one's enjoying anything. I'm not here to make anybody enjoy anything.
I felt like I should have been leading you to the next room where the entertainment was going.
I know.
Okay, here we go next.
You should have, but Bruce Blakeman is on his way to the White House as we speak. He was on this morning at 6:30, and hopefully, and I think he will be, New York's next governor. Right now he's a Nassau County executive for the second time, but he'll be meeting with President Trump in the Oval Office, and they're going to discuss everything from Mamdani to Hochul, to taxes, to Justin Ellick's horrible hemorrhoid problem.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's news to me.
Well, it's coming up.
Okay.
Just so you know. Talking about Nassau County and the 2-time Nassau County executive, my next guest, who's really a friend of mine for a long time, and Danielle's, we love him, big-time immigration attorney, but he is a Nassau County Great Neck guy, loves Bruce as well, Abraham Hamra. AB, welcome back to Sid and Friends in the morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. Today's a great morning, after the Knicks win yesterday. We're feeling good this morning.
I know
How
you
doing?
love the Knicks, and I know you've got, Abe has about 90 kids. I don't know, his lovely wife, Rachel. They keep banging them out. I know your little boys, they love the Knicks, right? All of them, right?
We love them. We love them. We were up. We were so happy yesterday. Seeing the score, seeing the blowout. That's exactly what we need against Philly, for sure.
Yeah, the last couple of games, I was at the Yankee game last night, and they put the Knicks score on the scoreboard, and it was 73-51 at halftime, and the crowd gave us, nice applause. And so it's been easy the last 2 days, and hopefully they can keep that up. Now, I want your job to be easy, getting signatures for this petition. This flotilla thing all started really with Greta Thunberg. She was the first famous name to end up on one of these Palestinian flotillas, these ridiculous morons. But tell us exactly, A.B. Hamra, what you're looking for my listeners or your residents to do.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing me on, Sid. Honestly, this is an idea inspired by our horrendous mayor, Mayor Zoran Mamdani. When he saw the Gaza flotilla stopped or intercepted, he demanded an investigation and said that there could have been violations of international law. Now, as an attorney, I understand 100% that there isn't. The Palmer report from the UN already stated the legality of intercepting Gaza flotillas when investigated then. But it did give me an idea.
Well, hold on a second. Before you move any further, Gaza flotillas. I don't know the answer to this. I'm actually admitting ignorance. Again, I'm familiar with Greta Thunberg, that idiot. And for a while there, she was just a young kid who's been being taken advantage of. Now she's an idiot. When you say Gaza flotillas, have there been a bunch of these boats? A bunch?
There has been a bunch of them, and this is a repeated tactic. This isn't new. This is decades old. The big international Gaza flotilla incident happened in 2010, where people said that Israel illegally seized the boat in international waters and therefore was a violation of international law. The UN actually investigated it and released something called the Palmer report, which indicated very clearly that Israel had the authority to intercept and stop the Gaza flotilla of 2010. Nothing legally has changed to change the analysis of that decision.
Interesting. Okay, so Greta is relatively old in what's been what you're describing as a 16-year-old issue. Okay, so what's the next step now?
So the idea that I came with is, okay, so this investigation against Israel is useless, but there is an investigation that should be had. And there were 8 Americans, at least, if I'm not mistaken, that were on board this flotilla. Now, this flotilla was organized by the PCPA. The U.S. Treasury Department put the PCPA on its sanction list on all fact sanctions and stated that they act at the behest of Hamas. The U.S. government needs to investigate each and every single American on board that flotilla to make sure they did not violate the OFAC rules, and two, they did not violate 18 U.S.C. 2339B, which is providing material support to a terrorist organization. I feel that the Department of Justice should take this on and should at least investigate these individuals. So I started a petition demanding the DOJ, start an investigation. The petition's about a day old, and we already have about 1,300 signatures. Wow. I'm really looking to break 10 to 15,000 by the end of this week. So every single listener, I need you. We need your support. Please go to change.org/flotilla terror and sign the petition. It takes 30 seconds, and let's get these people investigated.
All right, change.org/flotilla terror. And you want to make sure that these people who are on these boats who are doing nothing but causing trouble, they're investigated to the fullest, yes?
Absolutely. Investigated for potentially providing material support to a terrorist organization, but surely investigated for working with a sanctioned entity, the PCPA, who organized this flotilla. Doing that by itself can carry penalties of up to 20 years in prison. So each and every single American should be investigated by the DOJ. There's more than enough there.
You know what's interesting, AB? You're a Trump supporter. Can I say that, or would you rather I didn't?
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, you're a Trump supporter. You're a proud Jewish, and your great voice. I limit the amount of people. You're a friend, so it doesn't really count. Your family, but I limit the amount of influencers and people I bring on now because I made the point earlier when Samantha Ettus was in studio that I think that we're starting to hurt ourselves now. We yelling and screaming every day, and people have had enough. Look, it's one thing when you find swastikas on a shul in Queens like we did 2 days ago, or swastikas on a house where a man lived who survived the Holocaust, or what you're doing now with this flotilla. These are important things, and you got to bring it up. But, every single day to do videos about something, and I hate to say it, AB, but somewhere down the road, people lose interest. I compare it to Nancy Guthrie. It's like after a while, they don't want to hear it anymore. The plight of this, the plight of that. What is that now?
I said even worse. It could dilute a real issue.
Well, that's my point, right? And I feel like we got 9,000 influencers, and they're at an event every night in the city. There's 90 million organizations. I've never heard of these people. I love my friend Michael Rappaport. He was on the show 2 days ago. This guy hosting us, I never heard of these people. And after a while, you start to dilute, like you just said, the real issue. We still have issues. Anti-Semitism is at an all-time high, but we got to be careful because when you start yelling every day, you do dilute the message. What do you think about that?
I do agree, and I think the message is bigger than anti-Semitism. The message really is reclaiming America's identity and moving forward in a future that is sustainable for all of Americans. The issues that we're facing as Jews that are anti-Semitic are really symptoms of a major issue. It's not going to stop there. So I do agree with you. I think we need to change our approach a little bit and kind of take it back from immediately charging at anti-Semitism and then just attack them on logic, on flaws, and their anti-American ideals that are leading to the moral rot and the collapse of our societies and institutions that have brought us to this point.
You just said it perfectly, because when you go anti-American first, God, that was perfect, AB. I have no idea how good that was. When you say anti-American first, no, I'm serious. Now you've invited everybody into the room, not just people who go to shul or put on tefillin. Now you've invited everybody into the room. And if we're going to fix these issues, including anti-Semitism, you better get a healthy helping of Christians or you're dead meat. Bottom line.
Absolutely. And you know what? At the end of the day, there's this instinct that we have that we need to make people like us, that we need to prove our value to society. I think our value is self-evident. As Jews, as Americans, it is self-evident what we bring to the society. We do not need to convince anybody. We do not need to beg for their acceptance. It is to their benefit, our acceptance. Our rejection is going to be to the detriment of those who are hating, who are trying to increase anti-Semitism against us. Those communities that get rid of their Jews never pan out. So really the issue, again, is are you American or are you anti-American ideals? And this petition, the Gaza Flotilla, forget Jews. Do you really want Americans going out there and supporting internationally designated terrorist organizations? 9/11 happened here in New York, in America. This type of ideology affects us here as Americans, not just Jews.
That's a terrific job. Give out the URL one more time so folks can help out.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. change.org/flotilla terror.
All right. Abraham Hamra, you never disappoint, whether it's on Instagram or on this show. You're always great. Hopefully you'll get all those petitions. You deserve it. It's a worthwhile cause. Excellent job, baby. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
God bless you. Abraham Hamra right there, Great Neck resident, terrific guy, and immigration attorney. Right here on Sid Friends in the Morning. Quick break, come back, wrap things up. Tuesday is just about over on Sid Friends in the Morning.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Listen to this podcast now on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Why is the middle class shrinking? Why are people facing an affordability crisis while marginalized individuals called informals grow in numbers? Join me as I travel the world, speaking with people living in invisibility, the leaders working to solve it, and uncovering the hard truths shaping our economy and daily reality.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.